war cry is sounded and the dudes are assembled.
That's a real interesting war cry.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, it's better than.
It sounds like battle with a tinge of nausea.
Hey, everybody.
Woo! Hello! We are here at the Three Dudes basement doing the Three Dudes podcast.
Yes.
Right. Believe it or not, we're
for
doing
the-
this show.
I'm not going to say what episode it is. I'm not going to say what episode it is.
Yeah, it's going to be a mystery.
I'm not going to say, and they're going to be real sore that I didn't.
Oh, man.
Yeah.
They're going to be plumb sore that you're not telling them.
What they already know.
They're going to be plumb confused.
They're gonna be a plum over
They're gonna
this.
be a plum.
They're gonna turn into a plum.
They're gonna feel it deep in their plums.
They're gonna right down to my plums. They're gonna little Jack Horner that shit.
Yeah, they're gonna Jimmy Crack card that shit. You know what?
They're gonna Baba Black Sheep.
I don't care.
Have you any podcasts? Yes sir, yes sir. But I don't know what session it is.
This Three Dudes podcast is uploaded for your listening pleasure on we're on SoundCloud, we're on iTunes.
Oh, holy fuck.
Yeah, Jesus
Christ.
Sorry, match.
The match just exploded and
We are on Stitcher. We are on Play. We are on iTunes. We are on Dogcatch. We're on basically all the big podcast apps. We're indexed in the biggest searches. So
Yeah.
you've probably found us through one of those things.
So listen to us on the go. Listen to us. Call us up while you're driving.
in the car. Yeah, call us while you're driving. We probably won't get it because this isn't done live.
Right, but you know,
call us.
Call the show up while you're driving.
We'll play your voicemails.
while you're relaxing at the park. While you're making love to your wife. While you're listen, that's the beauty.
Yes, is this Three Dudes?
Modern technology. Listen to us anywhere.
I'm so glad you picked up on making love to my wife.
I did what you asked. Can I be on the show now?
What is this clitoris I keep hearing so much about?
No.
But tonight's gonna be a good episode.
Woo!
We're gonna have a few laughs. We're gonna
Bruce.
We're gonna
Drink
some
few laughs.
We're all awake. That's most important.
God.
We're all
I
fucking
We are all
awake.
wide awake.
Today.
I had a bunch of coffee today.
Last night, I was laying in bed at 10:00 fucking clock.
There you go.
Yep.
I played a game on my phone. I watched a little bit of The Office. I snuggled my dog, and I went to bed.
There you go.
Yeah.
Didn't drink a beer. Didn't jack off.
We were
Feel okay anyway.
Yeah.
we were talking a little bit ago that I don't know. None of us feel especially fucked.
Not
we're
particularly.
I don't think we are. I know. I have one, but I'm stretching if I really think about it.
I just had one, and I forget. That's how good I'm feeling.
Yeah. I think we're all in a good mood today.
You guys want to say some good things that are making you happy?
I will start by saying that I am now fairly certain, being that I have switched to coffee and tea yet again. Fairly certain that I'm at a point where I can enjoy a beer or two and not go overboard.
That's really nice and a good place to be.
Which means now that I'm saving so much money.
Yeah.
I'm at a point now money-wise where I can actually start looking at opening up like a good savings account.
Really?
Yeah.
Great.
Invest a bit.
Yeah. Bonds, stocks.
Get some of that sweet 0.03% interest coming in.
Hey, if there's one thing I've learned about wealth, is that it's always accompanied with a top hat and monocle. So you want to buy
Sure.
that first.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah. 100%.
That's what brings the money in, is the image of success.
I thought that just kind of went without saying.
Well,
Yeah.
you might find if you become rich enough fast enough, you wake up and it's just on your doorstep. Brought to you by the Rich Guys Society.
Yeah, just with a card with a little imprint of a mustache on it saying "We know."
Yeah, right. It's like, congrats, boy, you're one of us.
Well, I mean, I'm still old enough to remember being a kid and having money in the bank and then getting like a return investment on it.
It used to make a little bit of money.
Yeah, I mean,
Yeah.
like I remember at one point I left something in the bank and forgot about it because I was a kid and
Yeah.
I didn't have to pay any bills.
Yeah. God, remember that?
Yeah,
God, I do.
My bank actually has a plan, a 90-day plan that has a 1.25 APY that compounds monthly rather than quarterly.
Really? So one and a quarter APY.
1 1/4 APY and 1 1/4 interest.
Okay, interesting.
That compounds monthly.
Okay.
Versus compounding quarterly or annually.
Now, I'm a dumb fuck. So if you have $100 in that account, that means monthly you get $1.25?
Yeah.
Nice.
Not bad.
That ain't bad.
No, that ain't bad.
That's not bad at all.
I could stand to make $10 a month, put $1,000 in, and just make $10 a month for not spending it.
Right,
That ain't bad.
Sure.
yeah, for real.
First, I got to get $1,000.
I had to do a little research and look up. You ask Google, okay, what does it mean when something compounds? And then I read it and I was like, oh, that's nice.
Yeah.
I like compounding.
Yes.
This is good.
Compounding.
So
Compounding your money good, you know what I'm talking about?
Compounding.
Compounding that interest.
Yeah.
so I'm
Deep into your bank account.
I'm bending your bank account over, and
I'm stuffing that interest rate.
right in there.
I'm ashamed of myself.
Yeah.
I'm sorry.
But but no, like I came home from work today. I had some coffee. I played a little League of Legends.
Yeah.
And I said out loud to myself, my life is really good right now.
Yeah.
It's I have occasion to think that way every now and then in between bouts of depression, and it's
Yeah.
really great.
Why are we what's the opposite of fucked?
I don't know, blown? I don't know. Why is the world sucking our dick today?
Yeah, why is the world sucking our dick this week?
I mean, I don't know. Is that it's not really the opposite, but it kind of is.
It
in this
feels
case.
right though.
Yeah, it feels right.
Yeah. You got something?
Well, okay, I got a quick, easy one.
Okay.
We're into November. Like at least at my job, we're gearing up for the holiday season, which is a chaotic time. It's going to be chaotic for the foreseeable future.
But there's going to be a lot of sales.
There's going to be a lot of sales. I have a big budget this month that I have to hit.
Okay.
Our normal budget for
I like big budgets.
Me
I
too.
cannot
Cannot
lie.
you other brothers can't deny that when a fam walks in
With that look on their face. And that
and they need appliances for their place.
Yeah, that took way too long.
No, I was like, okay, so normally we have to do like a $45,000, like roughly. My goal is $45,000 a month. Mm-hmm. So it's roughly, it varies,
Yeah.
which is definitely doable. I always stress a little bit about it, but it's always hittable, and I always hit it.
Yeah.
I have to do $82,000 this month.
That's a lot.
And that's a lot. I was freaking out about it. And I'm on pace to hit it. So, whoa.
Someone in my house?
I don't know.
I did hear a loud thud.
Someone's in my house.
This
Hello?
Oh,
Hey,
hi.
we're recording the podcast. Hi.
What's up?
Okay, sorry, my phone is obviously not with me. We're recording it right now. Do you want to?
Yeah, come on.
You don't have.
But no, I have to do this 82
$82
it's like
grand.
82 grand, and I'm on pace to hit it. So so far, and I'm only through 1 week, but I already have like 28,000 out, something like that.
Well, shit.
I don't know if any of this is cool, by the way. I don't know if I'm supposed to be revealing any of this. So everybody,
there's a big thing you haven't taken into account here, and that is Black Friday.
Yes, yeah, exactly.
You're if you don't make it before then, you're gonna make it on or around that time.
Yeah, I mean, in particular, it's like a high goal, but I'm comfortable saying that I think I'm gonna hit it. And even if I don't, if the department hits it, that's cool.
It's the month before Christmas. It's sales.
Exactly. Well, and I mean, like, it's a high budget, so I'm feeling good about that because we're doing really well right now. Everything's been good at work. Everything's been better than it's been in the past couple weeks. But the reason I feel like the world's blowing us right now.
Yeah,
Right.
this is, by the way, this is for our guest here, Pop-In Guesty Port.
Hello.
Perhaps our one of our greatest longtime guests.
Yes.
We are today. We are discussing why the world's blowing us right now.
Instead of
Because we
why
don't feel that
we don't
fucked.
feel fucked.
None of us feel particularly
The
fucked.
world is sucking our dicks.
Yep.
And
lady dicks.
your dick for that matter. if you should so choose to comment.
But no, it's just I've been like through November. I haven't heard one Christmas song all the way through.
Yes!
So nary a Christmas song.
Oh,
Nigh on a Christmas
And
tree.
that
You
is
work in the best place.
yes,
then.
I'm telling you, man.
Not
that's
so much as the
reason to
accidental
celebrate.
shake of a jingle bell.
Yep.
I went to Giant Eagle the
Yep.
other day and I heard something.
They had them
Oh,
on.
no.
Yeah, we don't have it. But like, I know it's going to happen because we have PA speakers and then we have like obviously other speakers in the store, and it's good. I know it's coming, but I haven't heard one yet at work. And usually, like Dave, you and I worked at Mark's years ago. Like they started that shit in October. I mean, they were peppering that in.
It was
like,
relentless.
in the fall. So
I've
Yeah.
never heard so many bad versions of Little Drummer Boy.
oh my god, which is already not good.
It's
Yeah.
not a good
We
song.
discussed the fact that
definitely-
there's not a good version.
There's zero good versions.
Yeah, it's bad. It's, at its core, it's bad.
Like even the Temptations, who
Yeah.
revolutionized soul and one of the great precursors of rock.
Yeah.
Motown legends. They couldn't even save that fucking song.
It's just bad.
They can't, no one can.
There's no cool
No.
way to say pum rum pum pum pum.
No, there's not. Yeah, I think that's it.
It's just bad.
Me and my drum.
And
Yeah, but-
also, it's not even good onomatopoeia.
no, it's really not.
Do better.
Yeah, right. Drums sound like a lot of things, but not really pum rum pum pum pum.
Fucking, this kid has literally just been born. He's probably crying his ass off because this jackass kid is coming around with this loud fucking drum. Sorry, I don't have any gifts!
I'm just picturing Buddy Guy with a cigarette hanging out of his mouth and a leisure suit.
It's the middle of the night, kid!
Yeah, no, I haven't heard one yet. So I'm really like maybe for some people that's Christmas music, but I don't like Christmas
No.
music. So
I got no love
I'm
for
just
that.
happy I don't have to hear it yet.
No, not yet.
Well, there is a bunch of dead air.
Well, whose son is it?
There's,
You got a reason that you're not feeling. Oh, what are you gonna say?
I was just to say, it ultimately doesn't matter because none of them can hold a candle to the best Christmas song of all time,
Yeah.
which is Weird Al Yankovic's "The Night Santa Went Crazy."
I love that song. It's on the end of Bad Hair Day.
Yeah,
I still have that CD.
The close second being Bruce Springsteen's version of Santa Claus.
Claus is
Coming to town again.
Yeah. Santa Claus is coming. He's like way off key there.
Yeah.
Y'all been good this year.
I just picture Santa in coveralls. He's a
Yes,
part of the
it's-
union.
Santa with coal stains all over his face.
Yeah, right.
You know, Santa, they say mine's all that coal himself. Santa's from Jersey.
Yeah, maybe Bruce Springsteen. I think the boss could save Little Drummer Boy. Bruce Springsteen, that dude played an 8.5-hour concert.
Yeah.
If anybody could save the Little Drummer Boy, it's Bruce Springsteen.
That dude goes to like Prince level of like playing forever
Oh, yeah.
in the rain.
That's
like crazy
that's a dude
bullshit.
who doesn't charge an obnoxious amount of money for his tickets.
I found
and then
it
plays for
in the
$5.
trash.
I'm pretty sure.
Pum-pum-pum-pum.
I'm pretty sure like Bruce Springsteen's ticket prices are like directly tied by contract to like the national average income or something.
Yeah,
Like
I'm sure, yeah.
Yeah.
the dude specifically prices for like if you work at Walmart and,
A blue-collar
and this is
job
the one
or
good
a
thing that you can
service
do.
job.
You can go see Bruce.
Yeah. Well, and he puts on. My brother saw Bruce Springsteen at the Agora years ago, and he said the dude put on like a 5-hour concert, and that's just like a normal night. I mean, you were talking
I
about like.
don't think I want to go to a 5-hour concert.
I don't either, but I mean, like, but he's got.
I mean, it's cool that he does it,
Yeah.
but
He's
fuck
got,
that.
but he's got rabid fans. Like he's got
Yeah,
like
yeah.
his fans are like working class people, and they're into it.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was gonna say, like, I'm not a huge Springsteen
Me
fan. I
either.
just never got into
Me
him, but
either,
I
particularly.
respect him.
Yeah.
He
Taps
seems
into
like
that,
a really good dude.
Yeah.
taps into that treasured vein of like working class middle Americans with liberal sensibilities.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
That elusive,
Yeah.
heavily splintered fragment of people.
Well, that
Coal
was like,
miners and poets.
that was a movement in American music for a while there.
Yeah.
Like late 70s, early 80s.
Yeah.
Like, all right, locally, like the Michael Stanley Band, huge.
Right.
I mean, like, they still, I think, had the record at the Agora.
Yeah.
Like, up until the end. It was like 88,000 people showed up for this local band
Yeah.
to see Michael Stanley.
My mom was a huge
Oh, yeah.
Michael
Michael
Stanley
Stanley's
fan.
awesome. I've seen them. That was my first show.
I forget who it is, but I think one of the members of the band was like friends with someone who lived down the street from us.
Probably Gizzy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Say, because
Gizmo.
I say Gizmo's dad was the bass player.
Yeah,
So my mom got to meet him at some point. She's seen him a few times. She's a huge fan.
Oh yeah.
Sweet.
Yeah, that was a movement. Like Springsteen, Michael Stanley, John Mellencamp. Like that was.
Oh, yeah.
Like that was like the liberal sensibility, blue collar, hardworking.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Close.
directly tied to like unionized labor. Like,
Hell
there's
yeah.
no way you can separate those
Oh, yeah.
things.
Yeah.
You know,
My favorite Springsteen memory of the
Memories
many
of
that I had.
Springsteen.
With Springsteen memories.
This week with Springsteen memory point.
This is going to be my new podcast.
Memories of Springsteen.
So I forget who I was with, but we were driving somewhere and someone had a sticker on, like a bumper sticker on their car, and it said, "My boss is from Jersey," and I didn't put it together that they meant it was like a Springsteen
Right.
sticker. And so I just looked at it, I was like, who fucking cares? What does this mean? We're not even in Jersey. I don't know what's happening.
It's kind of like a spin on that my boss is a Jewish carpenter thing.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I had to have it explained to me. The person I was with was like, Springsteen. And I was like, I'm dumb. I'm real dumb.
Who gives a fuck where your boss lives?
Like, it's so weird.
Oh, good.
What about you? Do you have a reason you feel either fucked or that the world is sucking your dick today?
I feel like the world is sucking my dick today.
Congratulations.
Couple reasons. I didn't have a horrible day at work. It was fun.
Nice.
Usually, as soon as I walk out of that place, I try to just let my mind go completely blank.
Yeah.
So the memorable things about the day are that I just voted.
Yeah.
Yes.
Voted. Yeah, buddy, it's important.
Voted.
I didn't put
Even
my
though it
sticker
doesn't
on.
really seem like it in this era, it is still important.
Yes.
Still important.
And then I am here because I'm killing time because I'm gonna go to my first derby practice.
Oh, hell yeah.
Yeah.
Fucking
That's
A.
awesome.
Do you want to discuss
Yeah,
your
yeah.
potential derby name on the mic? I don't know if you're going with it or not.
And if you guys have any ideas, which I know you will,
Oh, yeah.
Pun Masters
I'd
unite.
appreciate them. I don't know what position I'll eventually play. I'm assuming I'll probably be a blocker, at least for a while, but Dave gave me the idea of No Mercy, but spelled like gnome.
Yeah.
All one word.
And
Oh,
E-R-C-Y.
mercy, that's really good.
Yeah, not bad, right?
I've also thought of just like a Lana gnome.
Yeah. A lot of
Could
no.
do that.
A lot of no's pretty
That's
good.
good.
And then I want to brainstorm ones that are more like derby related. Or
What about Crushy Davenport?
Yeah, hippie swinging port. So like, there's lots of derby terms you could work in too, but
Yeah. That'll come.
Yeah.
But first, I have to learn to skate.
yeah.
Yeah.
Well, that's what today's practice and other subsequent practices will be all about.
So I'm not afraid of falling, which is like a big part. Like you have to be okay with falling.
Oh,
You have
for
to
sure.
fall the right way.
Yeah.
And I'm okay with that. I'm afraid of the getting back up
Yeah.
because I know I can't.
Yeah, right.
it's really
So-
hard to get up on skates
is,
to
yeah.
begin with.
It's hard to get up for me not on skates.
Yeah.
Like
Right,
it's difficult to get up from like your knees using like not putting your hands on the floor or anything else to pull yourself up and just pull myself up.
I can't do it without making
I
a
can't.
noise like I've been impaled.
I don't even care if I don't even care if I make a noise. I just have to be able to do it. And then
Right.
you add the skates into the mix, and it's impossible. So
It's hard.
I need to work on that, but I'm a little nervous. But I'm gonna go and do it, and I'm sure I'll be fine. It'll be awesome.
Yeah. It's what you're practicing for.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Derby's cool as hell.
Yeah, it's pretty sweet.
Yeah.
It's a great way to stay in shape.
And it's a great way to stay in shape. Yeah, we also have like a really, really good derby team here. I don't know if we ever talked about this in the podcast,
yeah.
but like the Youngstown, what are they? The Little Steel?
Little Steel Derby Girls. It's
Yeah.
comprised of like an A team and a B team, which each have a separate name, but I can't remember them right now.
Yeah.
But all together, they're the Little Steel Derby Girls.
Yeah.
And I've watched 2 home bouts of theirs this year, and both bouts, they just creamed their opponents.
Yeah. By like double their opponent's score.
Wow.
They just blow them out.
The one that we went to, which was their last home match of the season, was like, I want to say it was something to the tune of like 200 to 50.
Wow.
And then their B team was like 200 to 90.
Wow.
Which, if you don't know anything about Derby, the way the point scoring works is that you have a jammer on each team, and then you have basically blockers.
Okay.
And for every, the jammer has to break through the pack. They start at the back of the pack. They have to get through the pack of people and make 1 lap around.
And that's how you score.
Then once they do that, they start scoring points for every
okay.
lap around they make.
Yeah, okay.
So every player they pass of the opposing team is a point.
Yeah, basically everyone they lap.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, so the jammer that gets through the pack first and is in the lead is called the lead jammer. And they have the power, so either jammer can score points once they're through the pack and they make that initial lap around. But the lead jammer has the power to call off the bout at any point in time. So if the other team's jammer is stuck in the pack, the lead jammer might make it through a couple times and score like 10 points, 15 points. And then once they see the other jammer about to break through the pack, they could just call it
Yeah.
and be like, nope, no points for you. So there's like
My favorite thing about
strategy
that
involved.
is the gesture is the suck my dick gesture.
Yeah.
Kind of, yeah.
They do this like tapping the X
tap
thing at your crotch.
DX.
It's tapping the hips.
Yeah.
But it basically looks
But
like,
it looks
all right,
like you're
suck
doing
my
the
dick.
suck my dick.
The suck it gesture that
That's
says
awesome.
I'm done.
That's the thing. Like I don't know anything about Derby. I've never seen one live, but I'll
man.
totally go to.
We should watch
Oh,
some
hell yeah.
videos after
Yeah.
the podcast.
Yeah,
that's a
so
good idea.
the kind of derby I'll be doing is a women's flat track roller derby. But if you see any videos of like banked track roller derby,
Yeah,
it's
That's where
really
the
cool too.
thing slopes inwards. Right?
Yeah.
At the racetrack.
And they still do that at some places. They just don't do it here.
Yeah.
With the women's flat track roller derby is kind of like the typical. It's
Yeah.
a little
Most skating rinks look like that anyway.
Yeah.
That's really the
Exactly.
thing. You'd have to have a
I
purpose
think
built
that's
rink.
the main
Yeah.
reason is that it's just easier because you just take some tape and you tape out a track
Wow.
Yeah.
at a skating rink. So you could do it like anywhere there's a skating rink.
Yeah, and most towns at least have one of those.
Yeah. But the rules are pretty similar regardless. And it's real cool.
I'm
I
really
was just
excited for
looking
you to
it up.
practice.
I'm really nervous, but I am excited. I know everyone is super supportive, and everyone starts from like minimal to no skating experience for the most part.
Yeah.
With a couple exceptions here and there, but like everyone starts from sucking.
Yeah.
And then you suck slightly less, and
get
you
good.
hit people while
Yeah.
you do it.
Sure. Yeah. Get good.
Get good.
Get good, as it were. No, that's awesome.
Now, Dave,
I will tell you why I feel like the world is sucking my dick these days. Why the world is, to borrow a phrase from our buddy Joe Draft, delivering a nice kiss on the dick to me.
Kiss on the dick.
A nice
I love
kiss
that.
on the dick. That might be one of the funniest things he ever said to me. But the reason is, and you know, Christy and I talked about this recently. We are really, really lucky to have the kind of friends we have, and you guys, all of us here in this, you know, room, and some other people that are not present are part of that group of friends. We manage to do stuff together like weekly.
Yeah.
We
Yeah.
actually choose to get together and
Sure.
do stuff that I think a lot of other people don't do this.
Yeah.
You know, I think there's a tendency for everyone to, as they get a little older and they get a little more settled in what they're doing and what they're, you know, they center more into their own home or into their relationship. They kind of narrow in,
particularly when you're in a committed relationship.
Yeah.
All of us are.
Yeah, and I think people tend to kind of like their what they do shrinks a lot.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
We are really, really lucky to have the kind of friendship we have. We've been doing the Stranger Things thing these last several weeks, and it's been a lot of fun.
You do this podcast once a week.
We do this podcast every week.
And more importantly, we got together on Tuesday nights.
Yeah.
For
even if you don't
3 years now.
Yeah, even if you don't do the podcast, you're still hanging out.
We're still doing something.
for
getting together.
several years. Yeah.
Yeah.
I think a lot of people, this stuff falls off.
Honestly, though, I don't want to minimize your part, Drogsy, in that.
Yeah, well, it's very true.
Because
some of the things.
I think you're a bigger part of it than you will give yourself credit for. Because if it were me left to my own devices, I wouldn't do shit ever. Really. Like, I'm really bad at making and keeping consistent plans. It's something that I don't like the thought of. I like the act of. Like, I love seeing everyone every week. I love watching Stranger Things or whatever we're watching at the time, or playing games or whatever we're doing. I'm really bad at actually doing it and like following up with it. But if it weren't for the fact that I know our chairs are like, oh, it's such a gross sound. If it weren't for the fact that you are the type of person who you are, and you like initiate this stuff and keep up with it, I would not see anyone.
Right.
Well, then let me say this: the real kiss on the dick is you guys. You guys are a real kiss on my dick, and I just want to thank you for continuing to kiss my dick.
You're welcome.
You're welcome?
Absolutely.
You're welcome.
Thanks.
You're welcome.
And that's why the world's sucking my dick.
And that's the Three Dudes Brothers. We're here to kiss your dick every week.
Aw. Well,
Darn Skippy.
you can always count on me to come around asking for it.
My dick's got a real warm, fuzzy feeling about it.
So,
Yeah.
It's called a boner.
when we return,
Yes.
Schmorpin and Dorpin,
Marvin and Dorfin.
Consistently my favorite.
Sannon and Diegoin,
Barry and Sandersing.
Slurpin and Derpin.
Spoopin' and doopin'.
In just a few minutes. Bye.
Yeah.
Hey.
This edition of the Three Fellows radio broadcast has been brought to you by the Steel-Spiked Chastity Girdle, a product of Quincy F. Sick Bastard Commodities and Imports. When life's got you down and you're wearing a frown, you know to turn to these three fellows. Welcome, gentlemen and ladies, to another edition of the Three Fellows radio broadcast.
Good evening. Yes, pip pip. Yes.
Tonight we have many topics of discussion, many of which will be of common interest to the general public, your fellow man, and any cavorters and carousers and cohorts that you may be accompanying with tonight.
Terrific, yes. Right.
Now, before we enter the topic proper, we must discuss this week why we, fellow fellows, are hornswoggled.
Indeed we have been. I shall declare I have been hornswoggled. I have been hoodwinked.
We are bamboozled, we are hornswoggled this
Swindled.
week. I declare women's suffrage, giving the fairer sex the ability to vote and decide on the rightful leader of this country is appalling. It's appalling. By what merit must a leader be elected? By his ability to break bread, or to bake bread, or to keep house?
Indeed, yes. Fine, yes, indeed. Understandable.
And with the monthly womanly cycle, how can they be trusted to vote impartially?
On my laundry.
I declare we are hornswoggled.
Indeed.
By way of those rapscallious wenches campaigning for their so-called rights.
Well, yes, indeed. Might I also present for your gentlemanly approval
But please do.
yet another reason why I find we are quite hornswoggled? Yes. Yes, this newfangled horseless carriage, which colludes our streets which destroys our properties, which fills the air with a noxious smog, which is ungood.
And perhaps just as importantly, putting good, honest farriers out of business. Crafting horseshoes for our fine horses.
Horses.
Now to be replaced with rubber tires.
I hate vulcanization.
Unseemly treads and marks upon our great American roadways.
Our roads are made of dirt. It doesn't make sense.
Lo, I say to you, gentlemen, this newfangled horseless carriage which I have presented to you and mentioned here is indeed a hornswaggling. Hornswaggle! The highest order. Yeah.
I present to the group.
Indeed.
We are hornswoggled,
Please do.
hornswoggled, bamboozled, and all around hoodwinked. By children that speak in the home.
We're disgusting.
We make these children not to speak, but to be there and bring us our slippers and our evening ales, and for no other purpose. Children shall be seen and not heard,
Yeah.
and in most cases not even seen.
I've 7 of the little miscreants myself, and I declare the mouth on them is quite appalling.
Appalling indeed, Robert.
Does not the good book say, respect thy father and thy mother?
Yes, indeed.
Does not the good book say, stay in the goddamn closet when I tell you to?
Does not the good book say, bring thine father a beer and piss off? Gentlemen, I agree. We are indeed hoodwinked, hornswoggled, and otherwise yanked about.
If you may be so bold.
If I may be so bold, and indeed I have.
We will be back after the break.
What we are imbibing, and what we are schmimbibing.
Yes, no. For we do indeed imbibe and imbibe.
We do shmimbibe and fimbird and
Oh, yes. After this break, from our local sponsors.
Welcome back.
Back. Hey, guys.
Yeah.
You guys want to hear another pickup line?
Oh God, you're gonna do this again.
Ready? You guys
Yep,
ready? You guys ready for this?
Uh-huh.
Call me Mr. Flintstone, because
I love this one.
I hate ass.
Wait, you're gonna keep doing it just like that?
What are you talking about? So we're back.
Everyone knows Fred Flintstone eats ass.
Yeah.
Everybody knows that.
Yeah, we all know his
WD-40.
We all know his famous catchphrase.
Or sometimes.
Yeah.
So anywho,
Yeah.
we are back here on the Three Dudes podcast with
Yes,
a
sir.
little segment we like to call Schmorpin' and Dorpin'. I'm gonna get this out of the way right now. I'm not schmorping anything today.
Living a clean life.
Yeah, I don't know. I wasn't feeling a cigar tonight. Whatever. It's
Gesundheit.
Bless you.
thank you.
Googleplex.
It's Gambino.
Jerusalem.
But I am, however, treating myself to
Jeez.
a beer courtesy of a brewery that I personally think is probably the pride of Ohio.
A near and dear beer.
One of our many prides, hometown prides. Not quite because it's in Cleveland, but the Great Lakes Brewing Company
Indeed.
with their Commodore Perry IPA.
What a great beer. Yeah.
Commodore Perry, of course, defeated His Majesty's Royal Navy in the War of 1812 on the tides of Lake Erie.
The Harry.
Yeah, against those filthy foreign Canadian hordes.
Hordes.
Oh, excuse me. Did I say horse?
Apologies.
And so in true Ohio fashion, we named a beer after him.
That's a go-to sixer for me any night.
Oh yeah.
You
It used to be for me the Dortmunder Gold, but
yeah.
I think the Commodore Perry is probably my go-to.
Did I say any night? I meant every night.
Yeah.
That's my go-to.
Every
night.
Burning River, man.
Yeah.
Burning River.
Yeah, Burning River as well.
Yeah, they make fantastic beers, don't they?
Yeah, great beer, the Commodore Perry.
Mm-hmm.
David.
I just got a whole Smorpidor vest going on
here.
here.
Let's get your smorp.
It's a value.
You got a smorgasbord.
Yeah.
Take them one at a time. Let me see that light if you don't mind.
go for it here.
Well, actually, I'll talk about it then. I'll light it. But I am Schmorpin, a Macanudo. You guys have been talking about these for a while. You guys have both enjoyed Macanudos on the show.
Yuppie cigars, man.
The Yuppie
Yeah.
cigar with the heart of gold, I guess.
How did a knucklehead like you get a cigar so classic?
This is the Macanudo Inspirado.
Yes.
It's also the Gigante.
Yes.
Yeah,
For the
looks-
gigantic man.
It looks pretty fucking gigante.
It is. Yeah, I just bought that today, actually.
Yeah,
I was at the shop with Dad, and I bought one.
Well, you know, the reason I bought them is probably the same reason you bought them, which is it had a cigar rating on it. It had a little tag that said it's good, and I said, that sounds
That's
nice.
good enough for me. Yep.
I think it even said Cigar Snob 92 or something like that.
Hey, nutsack, buy this.
Right, exactly.
And I, the nutsack, bought it. But, I'm going to light that up in a minute. I'll probably talk about it.
You haven't lit it yet, so you got to
Right.
tell us how it
Yeah.
is.
I'm also smorping my Marlboro Edge. I've got them on standby, and if that weren't enough, I'm smorping my
Oh yeah, shit.
Smoke Tech e-cig with the... I know, right? What the fuck
Well,
is
at
happening?
least it's not just black coffee and cigarette.
For when ordinary oxygen isn't good enough,
Or, for that matter, when you don't want any.
when you need 3 different kinds of smoke.
Yes.
Vape ratio.
I refuse to breathe air
nation.
like a pleb. My blueberry e-cig liquid, my Marlboro Edge, and my Inspirado. And then on top of that, I am drinking black coffee, which there's about 8 more cups upstairs, and the shittiest beer I think known to man,
Beast
the Beast
of Milwaukee.
This is a beer you drink when you just need to maintain a certain level of alcohol
Which in
poisoning
Iroquois
in your
means
life.
the good land.
Yeah.
Do you guys remember that joke from Wade's World?
No, I
There's,
don't.
oh my god, there's a joke in Wade's World where they go backstage at an Alice Cooper concert, and it's it's Alice Cooper's band who just look like like Alice Cooper's band, like tattooed makeup, and they have this like really intelligent conversation, and like it's Wade and Garth like awesome, and they start talking about the history of Milwaukee. And they're like, correct me if I'm wrong, Alice, but wasn't that named by the Iroquois? Well, yes, Pete, it was.
I do remember that.
It's such a fucking good joke. It's such a good joke. Yeah, the Beast, man, the fucking Beast.
The Beast is a beer you buy because you have $15 and would be fucked up for a couple of days.
That's right.
And that's it.
That's it.
That's it. That's it.
Well, I mean, Oh, God, Jesus. The left claims another victim
Another fact tab.
for the Chamber of Farts.
Dare you enter the chamber of farts? Anyway,
How about more farts?
how about more farts? The chamber of farts always gets a laugh for me. Anyway, that's what I'm
Fucking
swarming in dark.
terrifying.
Yeah, not bad. How's that smorp
It's
treating
tasting good. I'm still getting
you?
it lit.
Get that shit lit. You
Getting it lit.
gotta give
it's
us a
almost
puff.
peanut buttery. I'm not gonna lie. There's a weird peanut buttery taste going on here. I
right.
can't explain that, but it's nice. It really does. Shit, that's weird. I'll comment on that later.
Yeah, get that thing lit up. We'll trade here at some point, and then we'll see how we like them. I am Marcus. This is a new company I've never heard of. It's a Rome cigar. It's the 505 on the orange label. There's a couple different labels for these.
Sure.
Kind of like the Camachos that you had a couple weeks ago.
Yeah.
With the different color labels. It's done in that style. This is the 505. I think it's a Corojo. This is from Romeo and Juliet. Okay.
Oh, Romeo y Julieta.
Yeah, okay. I didn't realize that. Yeah, but this is it's a Rome 505 then. That's the smoke. It's really good.
Yeah.
It's really good.
Yeah.
It was a little peppery at the start, but it's like, dude, a lot of smoke. Real good, man.
We will definitely
Nice.
trade. You can have this spitty sack of a cigar when I'm halfway done with it. Yeah, it looks good. It looks like a nice dark wrap, the kind of thing I'm typically into.
Dude, it's really good. I'm enjoying the shit out of it.
I'm telling you, this tastes like fucking peanuts. I don't know what the hell's going on here.
Yeah, we're going to have to trade here and check
I might
them
be
out.
having a stroke. I don't really
So
know.
yeah, that's what I'm Marcusing, and I'm Allening the the not local Modelo Especial, which is like better Corona. Is the best way I can describe it.
Good description.
It's Mexican beer. It comes in the fancy champagne bottle, the short ones.
Yeah.
Man, I love this beer. Like Drew has brought this over on special occasions a couple times when we do like our Stranger Things nights or.
Mind if I do a sip of that?
Yeah,
bad boy?
man,
I don't know anything about this. Do you, Ben?
It's a good beer.
it's a really good beer actually.
It's Cerveza.
Yeah, Especial. Give it. It's better Corona. It's like.
Right.
It's good, right? Drew Kensinger used to bring this over for like party nights or like special occasion kind of night. Not all the time.
I like
But
it.
I'd always steal one, and I just saw him today, and I thought, why not? So
Yeah, it's nice. It's a little bit more flavorful, a little just a little bit richer than a Corona.
yeah, but it's very certainly a Mexican beer.
Yeah.
So it got that very distinct flavor. So super good, man. How's that smoke treating you? Getting good?
pretty good. You want to try?
Give it a couple more puffs, and then we'll trade them out. We'll see how we get to that.
All right.
Oh boy.
So without further ado, without further ado,
A doy.
we move on to our topic, which is one that I feel for us is one that's pretty near and dear to our hearts.
Yeah.
It's something the three of us care a lot about, and it came to mind when I was talking with a friend about this subject, and reminded me of something I saw a couple months ago from Mel Brooks, who explains why he says maybe Young Frankenstein could be made today, but never Blazing Saddles.
Never.
Because we've become stupidly politically correct, which is the death of comedy.
Yeah.
It's not okay to hurt feelings of various tribes and groups. However, it's not good for comedy. Comedy has to walk a thin line, take risks. Comedy is the lecherous little elf whispering in the king's ear, always telling the truth about human behavior. He goes on to say, I personally would never touch, for the sake of comedy, gas chambers or the death of children or Jews at the hands of the Nazis. Everything else is okay. Naked people, fine. I like naked people. They're usually the most polite.
Interesting.
But it got me thinking how I feel like the topic today should be comedy.
Yeah.
And,
man.
Comedy.
What is comedy? Why do we laugh? Why do we have a need for comedy? Why is it important?
Oh man, we can go so far. We've had, all the three of us have had pretty long
Yeah.
conversations about comedy in general, like best comedians, who's in the top 5, who's in the top 10.
Yeah.
I know, Dave, one of the things we used to like to do in college was analyze why something is funny.
Yeah.
Man,
It's a really nerdy thing to do about
for
comedy.
sure.
Oh,
Like, yeah.
definitely.
But I think it would be fair to say in this room, the three of us are not just people who like comedy, but in fact comedy nerds.
Yeah.
The kind of people who might read an article on the AV Club because we're interested in the inside baseball of comedy.
Sure.
Now I would like to start this off by asking you guys, what's your favorite joke?
Favorite joke? Okay.
I can think of a lot of jokes I like. I will tell you one that keeps making me laugh. It was one that I heard recently enough. Christy and I went to a family reunion. We met a guy there, a very cool guy, who he told us this joke, which is that a man's in the hospital, right? And he's got this breathing mask on. He's basically incapacitated in bed, and the nurse comes in to check on him, and he says, "Nurse, are my testicles black?" And she says, "I'm sorry." And he's speaking, he says, "Nurse, are my testicles black?" And she kind of looks around and, shrugs, goes over and lifts up his gown to take a look, and he grabs the thing off his face and goes, "Nurse, are my test results back?" It's not that complicated a joke.
No.
I just really
It's
like
funny.
it.
That's funny. I have one that your girlfriend told me, who was just here.
Yeah, right.
I kind of wish.
That's right. We didn't mention that she escorted herself out to go.
Yeah,
to
she had
derby.
Roller derby practice.
She told me one that her uncle, I think it was her uncle, used to tell And this is my favorite. This is my
Who's
favorite.
your grandpa?
Yeah,
I know.
grandpa.
I know what
So this is my favorite joke that I've heard because not everybody gets it, and you can always tell. You can always kind of pick out the. How do I word this? You can pick out the people in the room who are quick witted when you tell this joke.
I like this joke.
So okay, this is back in the 1950s. Woman, she's at home and she notices that she's got a rash on her arm, and she goes in the bathroom and she checks it out, and then she starts looking and she's got a rash on her chest, and she starts to see this, and it's not bad, but it's starting to scare her.
Yeah, right.
So she goes into the doctor's office the next day and makes an appointment, and she's waiting for her test results to come back. Then she gets blood work done, and the doctor comes back in. And he goes, "Oh no, Mrs. Swanson, it's okay. All you have to do is, tell the milkman you're going to need an extra delivery of milk. You're going to need to take a milk bath for a week solid, and that should clear it right up." Mm-hmm. So she goes back home, and the next morning, the milkman comes up to her door, and she's waiting for him. And she said, "Hey, I just wanted to let you know I'm going to need." An extra order of milk. The doctor told me I need to take a milk bath for the next week. And the milkman says, "Oh, that's okay. Do you need it pasteurized?" And she says, "No, just up to my tits."
I love that fucking joke.
I don't know. I love that joke because some people, the look that you get where it's
right.
like, I don't get it. Where they're like nodding their head and they're with you, but they're like, what? I fucking love those.
Christy always says when she tells that, she immediately after says, and every time my grandpa tells it, my grandma goes, Lawrence!
That's a great joke, right?
Yeah, I love that joke.
It's a great joke.
You got one, Ben? You got a joke you really like?
Yeah, this is this is a really stupid one. Two whales are sitting at a bar. One whale says to the other, and the second whale says, "God damn it, Steve, you're drunk again."
Oh, I love that. That's a joke that gets funnier the longer you draw it.
Yeah.
I love that. Oh my god, that's funny. Yeah, I love jokes.
Yeah.
I love jokes. I love the nature of a good joke. I love, I have this weird thing that I do sometimes where when it's in the morning and I'm waking up and I'm kind of in between asleep and awake, I will become cognizant enough of the fact that I'm dreaming that I'll start writing the dream.
Yeah.
Like I'll start I'll start knowing that I'm thinking about something to put into the dream.
Yeah.
And kind of tell myself these nonsense jokes that, like, when I wake up, I'm like, that's not funny. But I love the nature of a well-written joke.
Yeah. Well, part of it's how you tell it.
Telling is everything.
Right. It's the foundation with which you build it up to the punchline.
Yeah. I think that's a really important thing. Is the same people can deliver the same joke, and one can completely butcher it by, not giving the right parts of the joke, the right emphasis or setup, rushing through things. And comedy is about rhythm too.
Absolutely. Are you rushing or are you dragging?
Not my fucking tempo.
Not quite my tempo.
Yeah, it's we were watching some comedians bomb not too long ago.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
And I think the common thread is one of the common threads is not getting to the fucking point quick enough.
Oh my god,
it's
yeah.
Too much setup for not enough punchline.
Yeah.
It's you can equate hip hop and comedy in the same vein, in that it's all about vocalization, delivery, and timing.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
A lot of times a good joke is getting in, getting good, and getting out.
Right, exactly.
Right.
Exactly.
It's and especially when it comes to stand up, it's, I think, a relationship that the comic has with the audience of some sort. There's like a give and take in the room.
Absolutely.
Of like if you've done it long enough, you can probably really feel in that room how long your leash is.
Right.
And what you can get away with.
Yeah. And that's again, that's kind of part of what inspired this topic was being able to get away with stuff.
Yeah, sure.
Like what is it that makes some things funny and not others? You know, what is it that makes, you know, like one of my favorite off-color jokes is what's the difference between an ISIS training camp and a Syrian elementary school?
Oh no.
How should I know? I just fly the drone.
That's good.
Like,
That's so dark. I think I've heard you tell this joke before. I think I had the same reaction.
but like
Oh, terrible. Well, that's another thing too. Is there's different ways for things to be funny, right?
Well, and
Yeah.
like this podcast being a great example is the three of us.
Are not funny.
Well, yes. Yes. No, the three of us, when the microphone is not on, like, we can get pretty blue on this podcast. Mm-hmm. We can get really blue when the microphone's off.
That's the thing is, I actually think people who listen to this might not be aware that there are things we won't say on here.
Right. Yeah.
Just for the sense, just for the sake of propriety.
I have, like, I'm a pretty open book, and I'm not afraid to say a really alarming amount of outlandish shit if I know it'll get a laugh.
right, right.
And I have to take it back.
But that's the thing. If you know it'll get a laugh,
Right, exactly, right.
It can't just be. All things are not always funny to all people,
Right,
And
exactly.
and having the awareness and
Read
the
a room.
wherewithal to
Yeah, read the room.
Well, that's the other thing is, like, I think the context of the teller is super important.
Sure. Knowing the person, or at least, like, in the case of stand-up, like, being a fan of the person and then feeling like you know the person because of that. You know what I mean?
I will say people picking up this podcast
Yeah.
who don't know us, don't have any relationship to us, don't know anything about us, there's a really good chance someone would pick this up, listen, and be like, yeah, racist dickwads, and turn it off.
Sure. That's true.
Yeah.
And that's because knowing someone's intent sometimes has a lot to do with how you receive a joke.
Intent is a huge part of it.
Yeah.
It's a very, very huge part of it. It's like, you know, if you remember that fiasco from a while back where not Dane Cook, some other garbage comedian, Daniel Tosh.
Daniel Tosh. Yeah.
Fired back at this woman, you know, basically with the intent of being malicious and you know, trying to kind of shut her down by making an off-color comment about gang rape.
Yeah.
You know, meanwhile on the other end, Louis C.K. makes one of the funniest jokes concerning rape.
Yeah.
Yeah, right.
Where he says, you know, I mean, the punchline is like, you know, well, what else are you gonna do?
Yeah. If anyone hasn't seen that by now, which would astound me, you know, if you can believe it, it's a really funny, in context, fairly appropriate joke about rape.
Yeah.
Which is astounding to say out loud, honestly.
Well,
Yeah,
and here's the thing.
because it puts the ridicule on the
rapist,
the perpetrator, right? Yeah. It puts the ridicule on them, like
Yeah.
because obviously he's sarcastic when he says, you know, when you're, you know, when you haven't had sex in a while, you go out and rape someone. I mean, what else are you gonna do?
How else are you supposed to have an orgasm with their body if they won't let you? That's his exact line. Which is, of course, and that's another thing too.
Which is, of course, a ridiculous.
Which is the big nature. I think a very big part of what comedians often do. And I know that Louis has written about this before. And, you know, I feel weird talking about Louis because I'm feeling weird about Louis because of all the shit that they. But just for the sake of this conversation, I'll leave that out of it and just say that a lot of times what a comic will do is take a ridiculous stand they don't believe in because they've just basically cut a block of ice.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
And then whittle that thing down into something really funny because they're deliberately arguing against their own thoughts, and that puts them in a corner. That makes for comedy.
Right.
Bill Burr is a perfect example of that. That's basically his entire act.
This is what we refer to as satire. This is all the outrage Jonathan Swift caused when he suggested that the Irish should eat their children.
He wasn't wrong though.
He wasn't wrong. Yeah. I am Irish, or fuck the Irish.
Yeah.
No, don't fuck the Irish.
When
They will get more redheads around.
When Randy Newman put out that song about short people,
People got no reason to live.
yeah. Don't want no short people around here. And people took that at face value, which you really can't. You can't do that with comedy.
No, you can't.
No, well, that's a big problem. I think that's why we have things that are off topic.
Well, here's the thing. Like this is where that Daniel Tosh issue falls into. Yeah. And I'm a firm believer of this. I get the argument that he was making, and I get the argument that Louis made, kind of in defense of comedy, which is that everything has to be funny, and if things like rape, death, suicide, those are things that are inherently not funny. But you have to be able to make light of everything in some fashion, or the world we live in is very dark and scary.
Yeah.
And there's a way to make things funny. There's a way to make things funny without being malicious.
Here's a question. Why, and you asked this, let's focus on it because I think it's relevant here. Why do we feel the need to laugh? Why do we feel the need to have comedy? I think I have an answer for this.
Please.
I mean, I think I'm not the first one to say it.
Right.
But the whole purpose of comedy is to attribute levity, including including for the things that scare us, that are bigger than us, that we have no control over. Things like
probably especially for those things.
Yes,
sure,
yeah, because those are the things that we need relief from, and comedy is relief. Laughter is relief.
Sure.
Yeah, to the point that people even unconsciously laugh when relieved. Right.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, like the world sucks. Life is very hard, and like it's a process. Like much in the way that they say that dreaming is a way that you process information in your head that's just on backlog. Laughter is a way of processing the horrible. I think
so too.
Yeah.
You know what's really interesting is I remember reading once that the current working theory that anthropologists have as to why humans laugh, it's something that comes naturally to us, and why do we make this sound at certain things? And one of the answers, one of the current leading theories, from what I remember, is that it's kind of an all clear signal.
Yeah.
Like primitive humans, living in a pack in wherever, the jungle or what have you, ape humans, and there's a rustling in the bushes. Might be a predator. One of the humans goes and checks it out. It's two rabbits fucking, and so they make. And so they make maybe a noise similar to that, to sort of give like an all clear, like that's our like everything is fine reaction.
Sure, that's really interesting.
Which is maybe why people laugh when they're nervous. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean?
Yeah, it's
a self-reassuring mechanism of everything's fine.
Yeah, and like. Because there's I think two kinds of incongruity that humans can experience. One is the incongruity of expecting something to go one way and having it go south in a hurry. Yeah. Which is where things like anger, fear, sadness come from. Yeah. And then there's the incongruity of expecting one thing and having it go a direction you don't expect, but in like a positive way, and that's where like laughter, stuff like that comes from.
Well, there you have it, comedy and tragedy.
You're right.
Right? Like, there's a reason the ancients, paired these things together and saw them as opposite sides of the same thing.
Correct.
Yeah, it's incongruity to expected experiences.
Right.
When something incongruous happens, it's an emotional extreme in one way or another.
That's really interesting. I never thought about it that way.
Because take the whale joke. The humor in that comes from that you don't expect the second whale to say anything.
Yeah.
Yeah. You draw out the whale call for as long as you can, and then end it with, "God damn it, Steve, you're drunk again."
Yeah, something really blunt.
Yeah.
Comedy is very often about surprise.
Correct. Yeah.
A good punchline should, put the entire joke into a new context.
Yeah.
I think one-liners are a real quick, maybe the quickest witted way to do that.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Because a lot of one-liners come out of left field and it's so far from what you expect.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Rodney Dangerfield's, I asked the bartender to surprise me. He showed me a naked picture of my wife.
Yeah, right. Exactly, right. Okay.
We all know what he means. Surprise me. Give me a random drink.
Yeah.
And again, it's that incongruity. It's the surprise of the punchline that puts the rest of the joke into it.
You gotta give it to Rodney. That form of joke was his.
He was
a
the
meal
king.
for him.
Yeah.
He was a king.
Yeah.
Well, I love the one-liner because it's one of the. I like jokes that the audience has to catch up to. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
And that think of like Mitch Hedberg. I used to do drugs. I still do drugs, but I used to.
too.
Yeah. You know what I mean?
The one-liner takes the one-liner is different from I think a traditional joke because a traditional joke sets up an expectation.
Correct.
But a one-liner takes an expectation that a reasonable person would already have.
Yeah.
Just living day to day.
Yeah.
I used to drink, meaning now I don't anymore.
Right.
And then he takes it and warps it.
There's something special about a one-liner. It's like you got hit by a bus you didn't even know was there.
Right.
It's just so.
I poured spot remover on my dog, and he disappeared.
Yeah.
Stephen Wright, probably the master of that format.
The king.
Descartes walks into a bar. Bartender asks him if he wants a drink. Descartes says, "I think not," and vanishes.
I like that.
I think too. There's the satisfaction also of getting a joke.
Yeah.
It is like a riddle or like a or even just like a lesson. It's like a new concept in linguistics and mental gymnastics, and so getting it is really kind of a catharsis.
It's also like an art form that we have. It's much easier to articulate on some level. For example, why certain chords resonate with you. There's a mathematical relationship of the notes. It makes sense. The painting can evoke certain feelings and colors can be nostalgic. There's an understanding there of why that form works.
Right.
Comedy is so much more confusing and almost feels kind of magical in a way because it is very hard to articulate why we laugh. And even when we understand it, we still don't really get why we're doing that.
Right. It's
even knowing a plausible reason, still it doesn't take the magic out of it.
Right.
Yeah, and when you think about it too, because we're the only animals on Earth that have such a high concept of like abstract thought and everything.
Yeah.
We're the only animals on Earth that do this, that make jokes.
Yeah, Unless we discover some hilarious dolphin jokes I don't know about yet. And they might have.
I'd be willing to believe that dolphins make jokes. Like play pranks on
Or like waggle their wieners at each other for a lot. I mean, I bet there's something.
Sure.
They're smart.
Which incidentally is still funny if you're a human. If somebody's waggling their wiener at you.
Well, if a dolphin swam up to the glass and waggled his wiener at me, I think we'd both have a pretty good laugh.
Yeah. And the dolphin would be like pointing a flipper at you like, look at my dolphin wiener.
I'd be like, it's gross.
That's gross.
So
keep waggling it, buddy.
What's even weirder is like how there are like universal concepts of things that are funny.
Yeah.
No matter where you go in the world, farts are always funny.
Always.
Farts are always funny.
Flatulence is always 100% funny. Why?
I don't know.
That's a really good question.
Well, I'd like the not thought out answer is, well, it's a sound. But they're like, okay, why is that? Why? Like, there's no. We don't have a.
It's just something about butts and the things that come out of them. are just inherently funny.
Butts are funny.
Butts are funny.
Butts are funny.
Butts are funny without farting. But
even just by themselves.
looking at butts.
Just like it's one of the more private areas of the body. It's one of the most intimate parts of a woman's body. It's
They don't know what that is.
no, they don't.
Great access to such a private place. I derive a lot of satisfaction from that.
And I don't know. I think again, it's like the incongruity of like, we're supposed to be civilized people living in polite society, but we have butts and they make funny noises.
Right, exactly.
But yeah, there are certain things I remember I remember reading like the oldest dick joke in history is something like 6,000 years old.
Yeah.
It's
a couple years ago. They found it where I don't know where they found it written or engraved or what.
Yeah, it was
It was an Egyptian joke, correct?
It's
old.
Well, it's someone recounting a story of a dissatisfied general leading his armies out of the pharaoh's kingdom. The pharaoh rides up and to catch up with him and tries to convince them to stay. And he says, think of everything you're leaving behind. Think of your wives and your children. And one soldier steps forward and grabs his dick and says, "Wherever this goes, I will have no want of wives."
That's a good one. Yeah. That's not bad.
Yeah, so it works. That's the other thing about comedy.
I don't need to worry about finding a woman as long as I have this with me.
Yeah, like the ways that jokes are told, we have an expectation, and that changes. Like we have an expectation of how to be told something funny, but the subject material that is funny is timeless.
Sure. And jokes are funny. That's a good example. Jokes can be funny years into the, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Unless they are specifically contextual to that time.
Yeah.
Right.
Like good humor is still funny. Do you know, like years?
But no longer an ice cream brand.
Yeah.
Right. Like
Claudius Maximus harvests grapes at sundown.
yeah. Right.
I don't know if you've ever read Roman graffiti. Some of it's really, really funny. Some of it is just like,
what?
Why bother?
Yeah.
Why would you write this?
Is this a thing?
Roman graffiti, yeah. A lot of it actually comes from Pompeii. There's graffiti preserved on the walls of Pompeii.
I know, it's the ashes of the people who died there.
Right.
Jesus.
There's it's things like a lot like what you would expect from bathroom graffiti now. Like there's one that says, I made love to, Priscilla, the most beautiful prostitute in Rome, in this alley, or stuff like that.
Yeah, it's weird. It's like that's a thing that continues to surprise me, especially like I've been watching a lot of documentaries. Like the Prohibition documentary, the Vietnam War documentary. I watch a lot of that stuff. It continues to surprise me how much people don't change. Like how much about us is the same, and just our circumstances are different.
Yeah.
Yeah,
it really, so this, here's one from, these are all from Pompeii. There's one that says, "Weep, you girls, my penis has given you up. Now it penetrates men's behinds. Goodbye, wondrous femininity."
No way. No way, that's for real.
These are all graffitis, from Pompeii.
Is this for real?
"Restituta, take off your tunic, please, and show us your hairy privates." "Amplicatus, I know that Icarus is buggering you. Salvius wrote this." Big money Salvius.
Big money Salvius. That's amazing. I'm part of me is skeptical, but I guess I believe you.
This one. This one's nice. "We two dear men, friends forever, we're here. If you want to know our names, they are Gaius and Aulus."
Wow. Aww. That's
just two guys a couple thousand years ago, probably carousing around town, decided to write their names on the wall.
That's really
so
sweet.
that history would know forever that they were best bros.
And
that's fucking cool, man.
The unlikelihood that would have been preserved. I mean, like, had it not been for that event, we wouldn't know it.
Right.
How many countless untold stories. That's just downright sweet.
I don't know. I don't know. Jokes are funny through the ages, man.
I screwed the barmaid.
That's all it says.
That's all it says.
Screwed? Hold on a minute. I'm really suspicious. These translations are, particularly modern.
Yeah, well, there is I mean, there are vulgarities in Latin, that loosely translate to things like buggered and sodomized and fucked.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, you're right. People don't change. Our sense of humor doesn't change. It's always been just as vulgar as
Yeah.
Bill Shakespeare put plenty of stuff like that in his plays.
Oh, for sure,
all written for the common audience.
Right.
Could
William
shell out a few coins to go watch a thrilling play at the Globe.
Right.
I got a question for you boys. While we're just talking about comedy.
Yeah.
And this might be a difficult one. Is there actually any topic you can't imagine ever being funny? Do you have any hard lines
on
as far as-
what's not funny?
Yeah, ever.
I do not.
I don't think I do either.
I don't know that maybe this is a privilege thing, but
I know. I mean, it's something to think about. It's like I think okay, so I don't think there's anything about me that I couldn't tolerate being made fun of, and I'm the first one to make fun of myself.
Absolutely right. As most funny people
that are none of us.
Yes.
Again, for a reminder.
No, that's not true. We're funny.
I would say anything recent enough to still be felt.
How recent is recent though?
Yeah,
it depends on the audience. And again, it goes back to
right. It depends on the audience.
But for you personally,
for me personally, there is nothing that is off limits at any time.
For me personally, God, I don't even know. It's too soon. I think for me, it's too soon to be making jokes about the Texas church shooting that happened this past weekend.
Yeah, only because I can't think of any.
No, see right there. That's a prime example.
But because it had nothing to do with the shooting itself.
Sure, but yeah, I guess so. But I guess that's kind of what I mean is the topic isn't. It's not that the topic is off limits.
Right.
It's that the material has to be sensitive.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's the way you put things.
It's remember what The Onion did for they waited 2 weeks and then started putting out stuff about 9/11.
Yeah, and when they did, they ran that hijackers article, right? It was classic.
Hijackers surprised to find selves in hell.
Yeah,
Yeah, right.
The thing is, that for me is the essence of some of my favorite comedy.
Sure.
Is the comedy where you're laughing to keep yourself from crying.
Yeah.
It's something so bitter and dark, and something hits you and catches you off guard. In fact, I would love for you, because I don't think you've told it on the podcast, or maybe you have. I would love for you to talk about, not that this was so horribly dark and couldn't be joked about, but the story about our buddy. I guess I'll say, when Tommy told you that when you were working at Little Caesars.
Oh, yeah.
And he came out back.
Oh, yeah.
I don't know if you said this on the podcast.
I don't think I have either. And still is one of the funniest things anybody's ever said to me.
And it's relevant to this topic.
Because it was so, I guess you kind of have to understand our friendship and the way that he was. His thing was always trying to get a rise out of me and, always trying to make me laugh.
Yeah.
And we used to try and do that to each other. But him more than me. He would, go out of his way to try and get a rise out of me.
Yeah.
And I was having a shitty day. I was having a shitty life. I was punching. He had already been at work, and then I was coming into work to work the night shift. I had just got cheated on in high school. No, it was after high school. I had just gotten cheated on, right out of high school, and dumped unceremoniously.
Yeah.
I was having kind of a shitty week, and it was just a rough time. And it's so nonsensical and absurdist that it was really funny to me, and that's the kind of stuff I like.
Right.
And my friend Tom, I went out back. We used to smoke out back. There was a ramp on the back by the dumpster, and I went out back to have a cigarette before I punched in. And I was sitting on a folding chair back there, leaning up against the wall. And he came out with one cardboard box. which is not enough cardboard boxes to like legitimately justify going outside.
It was a special trip out there.
It was a special trip out there just to see me. Like, he took one cardboard box outside and threw it in the dumpster just so he could come say hi, basically. And he, at this point, I was 18, 19, 18. And, both of us were children of divorce. Like, him earlier than me. My parents got divorced when I was like 13. His parents got divorced when he was younger. And he comes out back and he uncracks that box and he throws it in the dumpster and he turns over to me and he's like, hey man, your parents are out front. And it was like a weird statement, and I turned over and I looked at him and I kind of cocked my head to the side and raised an eyebrow, like, what? Because it just didn't make sense logically. And he's like, yeah, both of them. My parents too. and I realized what was happening, and I just put my head down and I started to chuckle.
Oh wait, okay, go on.
Yeah, I put my head down and I started to chuckle, and he starts slowly backing his way out the door.
Well, you said all you said is they're out front.
Right, they're out front. My parents are out front. Right.
Okay.
Right. I'm getting there.
I don't know if you left it out. Okay. I thought you might have missed part of. Okay, I'm sorry.
No, it's all right. He's like, your parents are out front, and I cocked my head, and he's like, yeah, both of them. My parents too. And then I realized what he was doing, and I put my head down and I started chuckling. And he said, "No." No. And then he said, "Yeah, they're getting back together." And he as he's slowly backing back into the building, he goes, "Nah, it was actually a pretty bitter divorce." And then he closes the door. Yeah. And it was and I don't know why. I just sat out, you shut the door, and I just went, I started chuckling to myself. I don't know why. That just tickled me. It was so
perfect.
It was so funny.
That's important, is you gotta have you gotta have a connection to the joke teller, and if you don't, then that connection has to be established first. And the joke teller has to be sure that that's been established.
Right.
You can't meet someone and introduce yourself with a 9/11 joke.
Sure.
Right. You gotta
you gotta ease into the 9/11 thing.
Right.
Again, that's the high wire of stand-up comedy.
Right.
And especially if you're someone who's new, not established, people don't know. You do not start with any bonus points or collateral. Right. You don't start with any recognition. You don't start with any of the shit.
No, you're starting from square one. The best thing to do is use your life as a jumping off point.
Yeah.
Right. Let them get to know you. We watched that one guy it was his first time doing comedy, and he killed it.
Yeah.
And there were a lot of it was jokes about himself. How he's I'm half Brazilian, half Canadian, so I like to say I'm sorry when I'm robbing you, stuff like that.
That's self-deprecation too, and it's another way
that's a good way to warm up the people.
Building collateral is largely about
definitely.
Yeah.
The audience needs to know either A, you do take yourself seriously and you don't give a fuck that they hate you, which I don't think works as often as you don't take yourself very seriously.
The only one who pulled that off was Help Me. One of the greatest.
I don't know if I'm thinking of Dice.
No, not Dice.
Dice came out all the time, just being like, "Nah, fuck everything. I don't care."
No,
Rockstar Image.
Help Me. The guy who was always talking about JFK. Fuck.
JFK.
Fuck. Help me here. Bill
Hicks.
Bill Hicks.
Oh yeah.
Bill Hicks was the king of I don't care what you think of me.
He was the true rockstar comic.
Yeah, he really was.
Yeah.
The king of I don't care if you laugh at me or not. I don't care if I go too far for you.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
I think a lot of it too is again, the audience. You got to listen if someone tells you that it's not funny. You gotta listen.
Sure.
It might be funny to you, but if it's not funny to the person you're telling it to, then what's the fucking point of the joke?
Right.
Your story reminded me too of what was it? It was I can't think of her name. Leslie on Parks and Rec.
Amy Poehler.
Amy Poehler.
Yeah.
She had just miscarried, I think.
No. The setup is that she's on SNL.
She's on SNL.
John Hamm is guest hosting.
Yeah.
Her Christy loves this story too. what you call it? Like I think it was her OBGYN.
Yeah, had just passed away.
And
that's
she was
right.
due to give birth in like days.
Yeah, and this is like the one person she would trust to help with this delivery.
Yeah.
I knew it had something to do with childbirth.
Yeah.
Yeah, her OBGYN had just passed away, and it's like the one bitter OBGYN for like all of her adult life, and like the one person she trusted to deliver this baby. And John Hamm comes up to her and puts a hand on her shoulder and says, "Amy, I need you to relax because you're really messing this up for me right now."
Yeah.
Or something like that.
I think his exact words were, "I need you to get your shit together because this is a big deal for me right now."
Yeah, and she just lost it.
Yeah, right.
It was exactly the right amount of funny at exactly the right time.
It's
From a person that between two people that obviously know each other and know what one the other would appreciate.
Yeah, right.
That's really good.
It's it totally relieves pressure.
The tension. Takes the
that's
tension.
another thing. It's just another thing of taking that tension off and being able to laugh at something scary.
And that's, I think, why my friend Tommy was one of the funniest people I've ever met in my entire life. Because he, the thing that I respected most about him was, I remember when I was 13 or 14, my grandpa died, and he was the first person to make a joke after that.
Yeah.
You know that awkward moment, like, and I maybe I'm not in tune with my emotions. I'm sad when people die, but I understand. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And I just don't like, oh God, my life is already boring. I don't like the fucking.
Yeah.
Are you okay? Are you? I can't.
Grief doesn't need to be dry.
I can't handle that.
Grief doesn't need to be inhumanly dry.
Right. It just bothers me. And he was like, I think the joke. We were 14, so like, the first joke he made was like, he's like, "Man, I'm really sorry about your grandpa, but your grandma, she's single now, right?" And it was like, it was like the next day, and it was just what I needed to hear. It was just what I needed to hear.
Isn't it weird that we're getting into now comedy by way of grief?
Yeah, right.
Like comedy as a result. It's finding equilibrium in your life. You need humor to get that equilibrium.
Well, it goes back to what you were
life.
saying before. Is it's the balancing act. It's how we equate that. You swing the pendulum back from tragedy to
Why is it that like the poorest fuckers in Shakespeare's day would go to the theater, and they're the ones cracking up at the dick jokes that are hidden in there, and throwing shit on the stage. That's it's that counterbalance. It's that equilibrium. Finding joy to fill the places where I think that's ultimately why. I think that's ultimately why I would say I'm an optimist, is because we don't have a tendency to balance out disequilibrium in our lives with grief. We have a tendency to balance out disequilibrium in our lives with humor.
Sure.
Yeah.
We are beings that seek the positive.
Yeah.
All the time.
Yeah.
When it goes too far as ridicule, there's definitely a difference between poking fun and ridiculing someone.
Yeah.
But I think that I think it's a pretty important part of the way we interact with each other and the way our species copes with things.
Right.
I think so too.
And even ridicule can be good if it's done in jest. You know what I mean? And not.
The Friars roast, the Friars Club roast. Perfect example.
We roast the ones we love.
Straight up ridicule.
Yeah.
But
I have a question for you guys. I have a question, honestly. Can you think of the best laugh you ever got, or the time that you were the proudest to get a big laugh?
Oh,
I'll tell you a story if you want to warm
go
you up
ahead.
while you think.
I'm trying to think.
I don't know if you guys have.
I've had some good ones.
Oh, the best laugh I've ever had.
Yeah.
Oh.
I will tell you one of my favorite ones ever, and it wasn't even it wasn't that the audience was especially great. It was just that everything worked out. But we were on a company bowling outing, like everyone out bowling, and we were sitting in front of the lanes. It was me and a guy I work with, and both of our boss. And he was sitting there. We were talking about just like, God, I don't know. We were just talking about like day-to-day office life. And I told my buddy, "You have no idea how many farts I don't blow on you." And our boss like almost fell over. And something about it was like, I'll never forget how happy I was.
Oh, the best laugh you ever got from someone else.
Yeah.
Yes. So
Oh.
like the times where you got an unexpected laugh, or or maybe someone who doesn't laugh that much, and you got a good laugh out of them.
Yeah.
So I feel like those are like very precious times.
Oh God, I'm trying to think. The one that comes to mind actually happened on this podcast, and it's still, I think, one of the hardest times I've ever laughed in my life was on this show.
Is it? I know which one.
It was the
gonna be.
episode where
with
Christy.
Guesty Boopinport.
Yeah. It was just because of the genuine reaction you had.
Yeah.
We were telling the stories about like it was the Retail Nightmares episode. Mm-hmm. And you were talking about, this older woman comes into the library and she's, like a real non-traditional student.
Oh, yeah.
And I said, yeah. I was like, she's a clown on stilts. And then like you and Christy,
We immediately laughed.
like you just
we immediately
chuckled.
died.
And then you looked at me and you did one of these. You stopped and then you turned your head over to me and you went, "What?" And I couldn't help myself.
Yeah.
I was trying to add to that, but like the more you guys kept going, the harder I kept laughing.
Yeah.
And I don't know. It was just like a genuine where
That
everybody
was great.
like
That
picked
was
up.
uproarious.
Yeah.
That was really funny. Mm-hmm. I'm trying to think because I've gotten some. I think everybody in this room has gotten some big laughs from people before.
Two immediately come to mind. One is when we were doing Tetris Attack and the
moist Guillaume.
The moist
The
Guillaume.
moist Guillaume.
We were talking in fakey French accents about we should come to their country and give them a wet willy.
Yeah.
And I pull out, or as the French call it, the moist Guillaume.
That was so fucking funny.
a great.
That is one of my favorite jokes you've ever
really
told.
The moist Guillaume.
The moist Guillaume.
Moist Guillaume. But the reaction that it got from all present
room,
was
we
a
died.
real mark of pride for me.
It cemented you as the funniest on the show.
Yeah.
I don't know about that.
I'm very sure about that.
The other one I remember was I was at Inner Circle once with a bunch of regulars at the time, and we were reading about some story about a guy who was admitted to the hospital because he had a cell phone shoved up his asshole.
Yeah.
And we were like, all the expected jokes you could make from that, and we started talking about like, why would he do that? And someone brought up, well, the vibration,
Sure.
maybe he's trying to get off.
Yeah. That's what I thought.
Yeah.
And I just like something clicked in my head, and I said, well, hopefully not in the emergency room. He can't come to the phone right now. And the whole bar just all at once.
That's not bad. I love that.
That's a solid joke. That's
Yeah.
a closer. That's what that is. That's a closer.
So this is what I mean. Is there's something really magical about like in the room, like a big organic, just everyone laughing,
an uproarious.
not expecting something. There's something so great about laughter
Oh,
together.
I know. Mm-hmm. Well, the thing, like the inside joke, that's it. I think that was born from that trip I took from work.
Oh my
And
God.
now everybody's doing that thing.
Hey, people at my job are
Right,
doing
right.
that.
I don't know if we ever told that story on this show.
I think Aubrey's been doing it now. Too.
Everybody's doing it. I got the winner was when I got my girlfriend to do it. When Trisha did it, because Trisha's usually the one who's looking at me like, "Come on, like stop joking all the time." But when she did that to me when we stopped at McDonald's, she's like, "What do you want?" And I'm like, "Let me get a Big Mac meal." That's it. I was like, it's catching on. Well, that was my boss, some guy like. we had to pair off with. We were there with people from all over the East Coast.
Yeah.
So New York, Jersey,
like a sales
Boston.
training,
It was a
right?
sales training. Boston. And we were in Connecticut, so we're in the Northeast. And, God, it was this guy from some store. He got paired up, and this guy was weird. It was an older guy, weird, kind of looked like a potato. This hunched over, and my boss Ben, who I'd love to get on the show at some point, got paired off with him, and they the assignment it was training from one of the companies. The assignment was to introduce yourselves to one another, and then tell the other person everything you know about whatever item they put you in front of. And they got put in front of a dishwasher. They had to introduce themselves.
Yeah.
And I'm sorry,
You got some
to escape from me.
Thick gaseous burps right now, buddy.
But they went through this whole thing, and he told this guy, like, Ben started, and he told this guy everything he knew about the thing. He's like, well, what do you know? And he's like, it's all the shit that we tell people, because most people don't want to know like the detailed shit. They want to know.
Yeah, they want to know the high level. What can it do?
Right.
How can it make my life better?
It's like, it's got this finish that's fingerprint resistant. It's got these nylon racks. They don't chip, they don't rust. It's got this stainless steel tub. And he told him like the basic rundown of what we would tell people. Yeah. And the guy looked at him and went, "That's it." like it wasn't that good for Yeah. That's it. And he's like, well, He's like, well, it also, But that's what the joke became. And he's like, he looked at him and he's like, yeah, that's it.
Yeah, right. In the moment, there was not a It
right.
was just, that's it.
Right. And then we started doing that, like, it's also got this. And then you keep doing that. That's why that joke is so universal, because everybody does it. Everybody
it also sucks your dick and prints money.
Well, I mean, it also, asks your father if I could marry you. Well, it falls through. It won't leave you at the altar. Sorry?
Well, it also has a little bit of coin. It takes you on a nice honeymoon, shows you a nice time.
That's it. Yeah, but no, like that running gag, like that,
Yeah,
I don't know.
It's interesting that the gags and the in jokes get brought up. We do the it's been a long time now. I'm telling
covered
some
in
jokes.
ashes.
But wait,
Yeah,
we do like
Don't clap with a cigar in your hand, kids.
the idea of humor as a bonding experience.
Sure.
Yeah.
that's basically this entire show.
Is a way of in jokes and running gags and stuff. A way to kind of signal to each other that hey, we share similar life experiences.
It's a much healthier basis for friendship and bonding than what I think so often was like in my past. I've seen a lot of people bond over what they hate, and it's cynical and shitty.
Right.
Like bonding over what you like and what makes you laugh and what things exhilarate you. That is a very healthy way to connect with people.
Sure. We are three guys who can and have sat around watching episodes of Iron Chef.
Sure.
Just because we like food and we like creativity.
Yes, go ahead.
The challenger right now is dumping the oysters into a large boiling pot.
Oh, we'll have to see how that turns out.
Yes.
But see, that's why I think stand-up comedy is like probably even harder than most people seem to think it is.
Terribly
hard. Because you have to create that bonding experience sometimes in as short as 5 or 10 minutes with a crowd of like 20 to 1,000 people.
Right.
Can I say on that topic, nothing makes me laugh more than when the least self-aware guy and you can fill this person in your head, goes, I'd be really good at stand-up. It's just like, I got some great stories. I'd be like, really, man, I'd just be so good. I think, like you really actually have to, because I know a lot of guys who they're first of all not funny. Yeah. Second of all, not real. They're full of themselves. They would get murdered on stage. I know these guys. It cracks me up when someone's just like, no, I could do it. I'd just be great at it.
Yeah. No,
you would
it's not
suck
for
ass
you.
forever.
If you don't think you're gonna fail miserably at it, then you don't belong on that stage.
Ding, ding, fucking ding.
You know how I know I wouldn't be good at it is because I have like a grand total of, I can count the number of friends I have on like one hand. My 2 best ones are right here in this room.
Hey, buddy.
I can't connect to people. I can't do that. I can't deliver like a series of funny, relatable experiences in 10 minutes to a crowd of drunk people.
But that's why you'd be good at it.
Yeah, the thing
because you don't think so.
Here's the thing: is realistically, we'd all be bad at it, but we might get good.
Right.
Because the thing is, it is not a thing anyone comes out the gate and is.
No, it's a skill. It is an art form.
Even
comedy.
that guy who nailed it.
I've been penning a 20-minute stand-up comedy set for like the better part of 3 years now. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, I would love to do that romantically in my head.
Yeah.
All the
Hit the right open mic, man. The thing is, you're gonna chew asshole.
Yeah.
But if you like it, you're gonna keep doing it.
Right.
That's the thing is, nobody's good when they start. Like nobody is good.
It's an art. It's a skill like any other. Comedy is something that needs to grow over time. That's why have you heard of the Dunning-Kruger effect?
Mm-mm. Yeah. Nope. I was gonna say that bow one, not that one. The one where it's like
What?
Is the one where like
bow.
I'm thinking of that weird one where it looks like
okay.
the McGurk effect.
The McGurk effect.
That's the McGurk.
That's
where you get a tattoo of the Chiquita banana lady.
The Coach McGurk effect.
That's
I feel like me, Brady.
Don't live my life. No, that's a sensory illusion.
Which one is that one?
The Dunning-Kruger effect describes the tendency might be too strong a word, but it describes the phenomenon, or it explains the phenomenon of someone who is unskilled at a thing believing that they are very skilled at a thing, and someone who maybe is very skilled at a thing believing that they are not as skilled as they actually are.
Yeah, we tend to estimate our competence exactly opposite what it is.
When you have less exposure to a skill set and you learn a bit of it, you're like, oh man, I really got the hang of this. I'm super fucking good, even though in reality you're not.
Yeah.
Meanwhile, the person who's been doing it for years tends to see more of what they do wrong and more of their hang-ups.
Because they know what greatness looks like. Because they're actually in.
And they underestimate their skill level when they're actually better than what they think they are. Mm-hmm. The same is very, very, very true of comedy. I think people. There is definitely a tendency. I think we all know, not any specific person. I don't have anyone specific in mind, but I think we all know someone who suffers from a bit of Michael Scott syndrome, where they think they're the funniest person in the room, and they're just not.
Yeah.
Yeah.
A big part of that is that you want to be so badly,
Right.
that you try so hard.
Yeah.
And you know what? Honestly, we could be talking about ourselves right now.
Sure.
Because it's pretty hard to be aware of yourself. So let me just say, full disclosure, we could be 3 incredibly annoying dudes, and maybe are to somebody.
We might be.
Maybe
But the thing is, we're funny to ourselves.
Yeah, and to each other.
We're funny in the same room with each other. You know what I mean? In the moment, like we're all funny to each other.
Man, this is some real meta self-conscious shit.
Sure. Yeah, for real. Well, but it's true, man. Like, I think you guys are hilarious.
Yeah, I love hanging out with you guys. I love our stupid jokes.
Stupid.
Yeah. So I don't know. I feel like we might be coming up on.
We got some time yet. If we're sitting around an hour and a half, a little more.
Can I pose a suggestion?
Yes.
Can we? I'm curious what you guys think on this. I know we've talked about it before in some regard. Can you place, if you had to, make it? Let's make an informal, in maybe no necessary order.
Damn, the bottle cap heard around the world. Jesus.
Can we make an informal list of maybe the top 10 greatest stand-up? We'll say stand-up comedians of all time.
I don't know if I've watched enough stand-up to be qualified.
Why do we do TV? We've all watched a lot of TV.
Okay.
Oh, funniest TV?
Yeah.
You know?
That one we could probably all wrap ourselves around, right?
Well, I mean, I think. Well, all right. Well,
what about top 3 for each of us?
Top
like funniest.
Okay.
Top 3 funniest things on TV, or
Or if you want to do stand-ups and TV or something, I don't know how you want to do this.
Stand-ups, TV, movies.
The 3 things that make you laugh the hardest, whatever they might be. Let's go really, really broad because hell, it is an informal list after all.
Dank memes, and dank memes.
Done.
Yeah.
Boom.
Yeah.
Done.
Episode over. Fuck it.
You gotta watch out for your dank memes.
Watch out for your dank memes.
Speaking of that, even though he's not gonna make my list, fucking Carl Stefanovic.
Yeah.
I mean, I know that's not the guy that said it, but like, when I think Australia, I think Carl Stefanovic only.
That guy.
I can tell you, I'll tell you my top 3 favorite TV shows as far as comedy goes. The first one is really, really easy for me. It's Arrested Development.
Yeah.
Sure.
I don't think I can think of a show more cleverly written, more punchy, better characters. I mean, like, I know that not everybody is in love with this show, but I think Arrested Development is my number 1.
That's pretty cool.
I don't necessarily include the Netflix reboot season in that, and I know they're going to make more. The funniest stuff that they did was in the middle of the 2nd season, probably.
Yeah.
But it's things like, Job is buying a boat, and it's called the C word, like as in out to sea. And he's in, which is funny enough, right? It's called the C word. And he's in a room with his brother Michael and his mother, and Michael tells Job, get rid of the C word. And his mother says, I'll leave when I'm good and ready. Like, jokes like that are so clever. That's got to be number 1.
Oh, that's funny.
Number 2, and I know it's like, really, maybe it has a lot to do with when I was born and my age and my era, but I feel like The Office is endlessly watchable.
Absolutely.
I know you're just starting to get into it, but I know you've been enjoying it. Some of the best characters on TV. Period. I think some of the just best written, most rounded characters.
Yeah.
Really great development, and a hateable character that is still lovable, which is still, I think, one of the greatest feats on television.
Yeah, I've had some
the Walter White effect.
I've had some audible awes for certain Michael Scott scenes.
Yeah, right.
Real close to the beginning of the series. There's one episode that just ends. He's had a real cringeworthy day, and it just ends with him handing out candy to kids and like just being real nice and complimenting them on their costumes.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh.
This is the day he had to fire somebody, right?
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah.
Devin.
Yeah.
Yeah, Creed,
Creed Machiavelli's his way out of getting fired. Really great. Actually, I think I might be stumped for a third, and I might have to come back to it because it's always hard to put something.
I'm going to throw one at you, and I'm going to see what you respond here.
Yeah.
How about Seinfeld?
Oh yeah.
I mean, you want to
it's
like
in the pantheon for sure.
Maybe maybe not the last, but one of the last great sitcoms
of the traditional sitcom format.
Yeah.
Like your big network sitcoms. I mean, it dances circles around fucking Kevin Can Wait.
Right. Oh, for sure. Yeah. Sure.
Or Young Sheldon.
Yeah.
Now I feel that because I haven't watched much Seinfeld.
Oh
Yeah.
man, but you can name at least a dozen moments, I would imagine, from the show.
Newman.
Yeah, culturally explosive shit.
Sure.
The soup Nazi.
The soup Nazi.
There was a thing about the contraceptive sponge.
Dolores.
Oh my god.
It shrinks.
Yeah, right. I was in the pool.
I was in the pool.
I
Yeah.
mean, like you could probably put together 20 immediately recognizable.
There's
Now-
at least 10 minutes of Kramer entering Jerry's apartment.
Yeah.
That you can assemble on a clip somewhere.
Now I feel that from what I know of the show, I feel that Always Sunny is kind of the spiritual successor.
Yeah.
In that nobody's a good person, so you don't feel bad for laughing at their misfortunes.
Exactly.
I think this is a thing we've talked about before, but I will reiterate it because I think it's such a valuable lesson. The shows are written in the same way.
Yeah.
Larry David told the writers of Seinfeld there are 2 rules basically: no hugging and no learning.
Yeah.
Right.
At the end of the show, nobody hugs and learns a lesson and makes right. They're just selfish people being shitheads, and you like them because they're like you in some way.
Yeah.
They're the manifestation of your own worst impulses, and God forbid they should ever get better, or you'd stop loving to laugh with them.
Right. Right,
and It's Always
exactly.
Sunny is exactly the same thing.
Yeah.
Nobody gets better.
Yeah.
Yeah, nobody learns anything. Nobody improves as a person.
If anything, they get worse.
Right.
They get markedly worse. In fact, early when you watch the first season of It's Always Sunny, the characters like Dennis are still redeemable.
D is the voice of reason
D
in
is
that
rational.
first season.
Yeah.
And then as time goes on, she becomes, self-obsessed and
Yeah.
money hungry or
Right.
the only
obsessed.
the only difference is she just disagrees with the guys all the
Right.
time.
Yes.
But her ideas are still just as horrible.
Yeah, she's gonna be famous someday, despite doing no effort, and she thinks she's, she sees so much in herself that nobody else sees. I mean, she's narcissism,
Yeah.
as is Dennis.
Yeah.
They don't improve; they get worse.
Right.
Yeah, it's I remember I took a film studies class in college, and no, but really, I took an intro to film studies class in college, and one of the things that really stuck out to me about that class was when we were watching Charlie Chaplin films, and we learned what the cinematic difference is between tragedy. This from a cinematography standpoint, what the difference between comedy and tragedy is. The difference is distance. If you're watching someone, trip and fall to the ground and grab their knee in pain, if the camera's close up to them, you feel for them. You're sympathetic. Right. You're like, oh no, how could that happen to them? If it's far away and it's just one person in a crowd of people, and it's like, look at that dork, and I think the film that we used to illustrate it was a Charlie Chaplin film, was all the stuff that was supposed to be funny was shot at a distance. You got the full, Charlie Chaplin body motion.
Right.
It's supposed to be funny, but at the end there's it's Charlie, something happens with a woman who turns him down or something. Charlie makes kind of a sad face, but it's right up on him, and with all the detail, and it's clear because it's right up on him. You're supposed to empathize with him.
Sure.
Yeah.
It's not funny that this has just happened to him. It's sad.
This is something we haven't touched on enough. Is that comedy is empathy?
I'm going to throw you a quote,
Yeah.
which is actually the namesake of one of my favorite podcasts. I brought it up on the show before.
Okay.
It's a Charlie Chaplin quote, actually. And it goes along with this. He said, life is a tragedy in the short frame, but a comedy in the long shot.
Yeah.
Which, the long is one of my favorite podcasts, the Long Shot
I
podcast.
didn't know that's where it came
That's
from.
their namesake, yeah. But it's that, you know what I mean? It's a little quip on, you know what I mean, that
You can't laugh. You can't on some level you can't laugh too much when you're too close. I guess
exactly.
And I think that's a little bit of a delicate thing that comedy tries to balance is being far enough away from the subject to appreciate the humor of a thing without getting so close that you hurt too much with them.
Yeah.
Right. It's right. Again, Always Sunny. What was it? Dennis tries to pretend that Dee has a developmental disability so they can get welfare and government assistance. The funny thing is not special needs. The funny thing is not developmental disabilities. The funny thing is that they're horrible enough to try and do this.
Yeah, the funny thing is
same with Cartman.
I was going to say that episode,
the Special
and
Olympics
then
episode?
Losing at everything.
Yeah,
Fucking hilarious.
Cartman pretending to have Down syndrome to get into the Special Olympics.
In fact, if I remember correctly, I don't even know if they said he had Down syndrome. I think what happened was his mother had the form in hand, and she goes, "Can't you see how retarded he is?"
Yeah, right.
No, that's It's Always Sunny. Actually, I'm getting them mixed up.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. No, you're right.
I'm sorry,
you're right.
can't you see how retarded she is?
Yeah. It's not. Yeah, it's the funny thing is not developmental disabilities.
Right.
The funny thing is how awful these people are for trying to pull this.
Which is to double back on something we talked about earlier, and I guess it's probably a good overall point. Is people like us who really like laughing, and really take comedy kind of seriously, just for entertainment purposes. We want to know why. We want to know why something's funny.
One of my favorite things to do is analyze why something is funny.
Yeah.
Which is annoying as shit, by the way, to people that don't
Get
us.
on it, right?
My buddy Joe, who he and I used to talk about stuff like this a lot.
To be fair, you have to have a pretty high IQ to understand Rick and Morty.
It's true. You gotta be pretty smart to watch Rick and Morty.
You really do.
Yeah, plebs. No, but like I used to talk with him about this thing, and he used to get annoyed with me and be like, I don't care. It makes me laugh.
Yeah.
But I think for us,
I love to analyze.
because
I can't identify that because I love to break down a joke.
Yeah.
Okay, so let's take an example.
That's what
here.
comedy nerds do.
Right. Let's take an example here. One of the jokes we've been watching Stranger Things lately.
Yeah.
And one of the jokes at the first week that I was here watching the episode with you, Dave threw this thing out. Matt Modine, who has done more than this.
TV's Matt Modine.
Right, exactly. Who's done more than this. He's fucking Joker in Full Metal Jacket, for Christ's sake.
Yeah, huge role.
But
That's him?
that's him.
fucking
That's
him.
Matt Modine.
He's Private Joker?
That's
Private
the one
Joker.
thing you might
What?
know from.
Right.
That's the one thing
the
you
one
might
other
know
thing.
from.
Holy shit!
Right.
Yeah.
But Matt Modine, who's on Stranger Things, is kind of like the creepy scientist.
Bad science man.
Right, exactly. Bad science man, exactly. But he came on the screen and for the first time on the show, and you're like, oh yes, TV's Matt Modine. That's funny. That's funny because who's Matt Modine?
Yeah.
And you're answering that question by saying, oh, he's from TV.
Oh, he's TV's Matt Modine.
Not from a specific thing. He's just TV's Matt Modine.
Yeah, right.
And that immediately struck me as so fucking funny.
My favorite thing about Matt Modine is when you said, "Oh, Modine didn't."
And it's not even like... It's remarkable, right? Because, just saying, oh, it's TV's Matt Modine isn't inherently funny.
It doesn't make sense. It doesn't make sense as to why. For me, I still don't know why. I'm laughing, except that it's an elevation of a guy you never heard of.
Exactly.
Right,
Well,
yeah,
that's
yeah.
why that's funny. It's
of course he's from TV.
Everybody
How have you not
knows.
heard
Right,
of
exactly.
Matt Modine?
Everybody knows TV's Matt Modine.
TV, and it's not television. It's TV.
TV's Matt Modine.
Yes,
Yeah.
TV's Matt Modine.
TV's Frank.
Right. Yeah.
And son of TV's Frank.
Son of TV's.
But yeah, no, it's one of those things. It's just okay. I'm gonna take a meme. It was one that we broke down in detail, much to the chagrin of both of our girlfriends at the time.
Oh, which one was that? Are you talking to?
I'm talking about Loaf Dog. Okay, so
Let's talk about Loaf Dog for a minute.
for those of you who don't know what Loaf Dog is,
Google that
Google
shit.
Loaf Dog.
Yeah.
It's just a gigantic pug sitting in a wad.
It's
On a
I don't even
kitchen
think it's really a
countertop.
pug. It's a photoshopped loaf of bread with a pug face on it.
No, it's really a dog.
He's perfectly loaf
but he's
shaped.
perfectly loaf shaped.
It can't be a dog.
Well, it's definitely a dog, but maybe they morphed him into the
Yeah,
shape of a bread.
I
But
think
he's
so.
but he's laying on a kitchen counter and he's looking up at the camera, and the caption says, "Get off the counter, Loaf Dog. You're not actually bread. Someone will spread jelly on you. You don't want to be a sandwich, do you? You're a dog." And we broke it down, and you and I, for an hour, for a fucking hour, we broke down why that was funny.
Yes.
And we came to the conclusion that the reason that becomes funny is not the rest of it's not the photo, it's not the rest of the words, it's the word actually.
Actually is the funny part.
You're not actually bread.
Implying that it believed at one point in time that it is bread.
Exactly.
It creates this whole extra impression in the back of your head.
You're not actually
It's
bread.
kind of, you know what it is? It's kind of like, God, how do I explain this? It's like when you bake something and then you kind of give it that egg wash and it becomes golden.
Yeah.
It's like, it's not any different really, but the color and the character of the thing has changed. It has become richer for this simple layer of backdrop.
Right.
That's the egg wash on the Roni pocket is the word actually.
You're not actually bread. That's where that becomes funny.
Yeah.
But things like that, I love breaking that down.
The mere concept of that.
Yeah, right. Exactly. Yeah, the
Perfect example.
from Cards Against Humanity. The
Yeah.
mere concept of Applebee's.
Yeah, Applebee's isn't funny. the mere concept of Applebee's is downright hilarious.
Right, exactly.
Just to even consider that Applebee's is not just a thing, but a conceptual entity
Right.
that has a sort of like oneness.
A family restaurant.
Right.
It's one of the platonic forms. It's like, you know what I'm saying?
Like
Like,
concept, or like,
It's an archetype.
we're like, all right, I'll throw it. Since we're going with Cards Against Humanity, I'll throw another one on.
Yeah.
there. Bees?
Bees?
Right?
The question mark adds so much.
That's
It's
right.
like, is it uncertainty?
Right.
Is it
Because it gives you
is
some.
it surprise?
It's the way you say it. It gives you the way to bees. It's like,
yeah.
it's such a strange
right. Like what a
thing, and again, it's incongruity.
Right.
It's you know. It's funny because it's incongruous, but then like your brain automatically gets into associations like, okay, well, why is mere concept there?
Right,
yeah.
Why is the question mark there?
This is
And it gets funnier the more you think about it.
like you said. This is
so.
probably fucking annoying as shit to people who don't think like us.
Well, but you know, I also
like-
think the only people listening to this are people probably
think
who
like-
already
yeah.
think this way.
Right.
You don't listen to a joke podcast by three people that just three buddies of yours unless you really think comedy and like you know the nature of comedy is you know what I mean. This isn't
Right.
this isn't Parks and Rec.
Right.
right. Exactly.
I'm going to it feels like it might be time to
It's probably
Yeah,
about
yeah,
time.
kind of wrap
we
this
should.
up.
We're in about 10 minutes to 2 hours.
But
So.
I'm gonna wrap this up with something for all of us to think about, audience and hosts, which is the concept of anti-humor, and I'm gonna introduce this with a joke.
yeah.
So 3 guys are walking down the street and they find a golden lamp in a trash can. So they know the legend, you know, they rub it with their sleeve, and well, one of them does. They don't all share a sleeve, obviously. Genie comes out, is the point.
That's the point.
He says, well, there's 3 of you, so I'll grant each of you one wish. The first guy thinks about it and he says, I want a wife who will understand me and love me no matter what I do. And the genie's like, bam, done. She'll be at your house waiting. What about you? The second guy says, I want enough financial sense to be able to make money on my own. Genie says, done. Good choice. What about you? The third guy thinks about it for a minute. He says, okay, I got it. I want my arms to continually wave back and forth constantly. And the genie says, all right, done. Guy's arms start waving back and forth constantly. So they go their separate ways, and they meet up a week later at a bar. And the first guy and the second guy says to the first guy, so how'd your wish turn out? He says, oh my gosh, I love this woman more than you can possibly imagine. She gets me. She really gets me. How is your wish turning out? And the second guy says, I've made a lot of investments that already I think are going to start paying off. I've already made a couple $1,000s just from buying and selling, trading. I think I'm well on my way. And they turn to the third guy. His arms are waving back and forth. And they say, what about you? And he says, guys, I think I fucked up. So wrap your heads around why that's funny. And we'll catch you. We'll catch you after the short break.
Well done.
And talk about what we've learned in recommendations.
Yes. Oh God, thank you so much for that. Holy shit.
Previously on AMC's The Walking Dead.
Listen here.
I'm listening.
You better get off my farm, you hear me?
Well, we're not going to get off
Well,
this
you
farm.
have to get off my farm.
Well, we're not going to get off the farm.
Well, but I asked you to get off my farm, so I'm thinking you get off my farm.
Well, I'm listening to you ask me about getting off the farm, and I'm thinking that we're not going to get off this farm.
Listen, just get off my farm.
We're
already.
not going to get off the farm.
You have to get off my farm.
We got people dying over here. We are not going to leave this farm.
Oh, Jesus Christ, the farm's on fire! No, Jesus!
Previously on AMC's The Walking Dead.
Oh God, I just woke up. It's a zombie apocalypse. I gotta find my wife and my boy and my best friend. I don't know what's going on. I gotta get out of there. I know my wife and my boy and my best friend are alive. I know no matter what, my wife and my boy will be there for me, and I know my best friend will too, because he would never fuck my wife. Shane, we can't be fucking right now. It's only been 2 months. We don't know if Rick is still alive.
Listen, Lori, he's dead. We just best get to fucking so we can be fucking somebody.
That's all right. I guess we could just fuck then.
Yeah, we gonna fuck too.
Oh look, it's my wife and my boy and my best friend. Everything's gonna be fine now.
I fucked your wife.
Previously on AMC's The Walking Dead.
There, Carol, how you doing?
I'm okay. I just want to kind of be left alone a little bit.
I just wanted to come over to you and apologize. I'm sorry that I thought you were a lesbian earlier. I was thinking maybe since you're not a lesbian, we can go out in front of the prison. You know what I'm saying? And maybe we could have a picnic and maybe have some niceties. Oh no, they shot my head! Oh God! Oh God, I'm still getting shot!
Oh Jesus! Oh no!
Oh God, I'm still getting shot!
Previously on AMC's The Walking Dead.
Carl!
Dad, yeah, I'm over here, Dad.
Carl!
No, Dad, I'm here. Look, behind you.
Coral.
No, yes, you're right here, right in front of you, Dad.
Coral?
Dad, can you see me?
Coral?
Dad, everything okay?
Coral.
You want to talk about something?
Coral.
Yeah.
I just sent my test results to the lab, Carl.
I don't know what you're talking about. There's no more doctors anymore. There's no labs.
Carl, it's a golden lab, Carl.
Oh, God.
Carl, he's a dog turd, Carl.
God, Dad, no.
Carl,
Stop.
would it help it if I did the face, Carl?
A little bit?
And welcome back to the Three Dudes Podcast.
Yeah.
Where we talk about our recommendations.
Yes,
this is
sir.
that time. This is that part.
That very special time.
On the note of funny things.
Yeah, I'm thinking about funny things now for recommendation
Yeah.
purposes.
On the note of funny things, I would like to let you know that this past Thursday, this would have been November the 2nd.
Last Thursday?
Yeah.
Today is the 7th?
The 2nd.
Today is the 7th, right?
It was the 2nd because it was 2 days after Halloween.
Sure, yes.
Yeah.
Remember, November. November.
Oh shit, the 5th of November passed and I didn't even think about it.
Right, yeah. Well, that's
Oh,
it's,
shit.
It's all right.
I forgot about 9/11.
4chan neckbeards and
Yeah, right.
that kind
V
of
for
thing.
November.
I went with Aubrey on opening night to go see Thor Ragnarok.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Ragnarok.
When you get to Valhalla, tell him Chevy sent you.
So I don't know if you guys have seen the first two Thors.
Nope. I saw the first one.
The first one was pretty good.
But it was alright.
The second one was kind of. There were dark elves and. Yeah, no, like really, like
Really?
I mean, elves come from Norse mythology.
Yeah.
It was like, you know, they're a conquest people. They hate Asgard, whatever. It's more adventures with Thor and Natalie Portman. But neither of those, compared to say Captain America, Iron Man, performed well at the box office.
Yeah, right.
Of the current Marvel Cinematic Universe, the first 2 Thor movies I think are at the bottom as far as performance at the box office.
Interesting. And then the first Thor had that amazing sort of 3D thing going for it. It was like 3D IMAX, big giant Marvel movie.
It was pretty cool. We went to see Ragnarok in 3D, incidentally, which, I don't know, I can take or leave 3D.
Me too,
It doesn't add anything to the experience.
If they don't film it in 3D, it's terrible. Like, I think that's always disappointing when they do it in post and you can see that it's like layers, you know?
Yeah. It's, I don't know, the 3D was alright. I'm recommending Thor Ragnarok because it's very good. It's kind of going in the direction that Marvel's been going lately with this nice even blend of action drama and comedy.
Yeah.
The silly banter, the fact that you're dealing with superpowered human beings means that you can, Thor's not human, but it means you can do a lot of really funny slapstick stuff.
Right.
I'm sure you've seen in the trailers, Hulk's in the movie.
Yeah.
It's a pretty weird ride. It's serious when it needs to be. It's really out there when it's not.
Yeah.
Very, very funny. Probably the best Thor movie. Best Thor-centric movie to date. Adds a lot to the lore of Asgard, to Thor's place in the Avengers, and just a real fun movie.
Is Tom Hiddleston in this as well? Is he in there as Loki?
He's Loki.
Because honestly, I think Loki is my favorite thing about the Thor movies.
He's Aubrey's favorite too.
Tom Hiddleston is everyone's favorite.
Yeah.
He's just an eminently interesting actor. As Loki, he's particularly, sort of accentuated. He's, he's something else. And he was also on an episode of Top Gear I watched recently.
Oh, really?
Yes.
Nice.
What is Tom Green in there?
Tom, what?
I feel like he's everybody's least favorite part of everything that he's in. Tremendously disinteresting.
Well, he was not in Thor Ragnarok, but
Tom Green.
the fucking, like, when we're talking about comedy, the fucking
he's so weird.
He's the book that's tipped over on your bookshelf that you just never bother to pick back up.
we went through kind of a weird random phase in the late 90s, early 2000s where
MTV did.
We're doing, my bum is on the rail. My bum, that was considered like high comedy at the time.
When I think about my bum is on the Swedish, I still laugh. I'm not even kidding. My bum is on the Swedish. My bum is on the Swedish.
My bum is on the man.
Okay, I know it's fucking stupid.
It's stupid. It is funny though.
But whatever. I was
when you're
16.
when you're high, it's funny.
But anyway, I go see Thor Ragnarok. It starts strong. It ends really in a really satisfying way.
Yeah.
It's fun from beginning to end, like all Marvel movies. I think last episode or the episode before I recommended Spider-Man: Homecoming. Definitely best iteration of Spider-Man on film.
That's
to
really
date.
cool.
Yeah,
that's really cool. We're so lucky to live in a time when the Marvel movies are good.
Yeah,
because holy fuck, did they blow it for years?
Sony has owned Spider-Man for a long time, and they let go of their stranglehold on the Spider-Man franchise and said, "All right, Marvel, can you help us out a little bit here?"
Yeah.
And they together ended up producing probably the best Spider-Man movie to date.
Spider-Man, Spooderman.
There at the beginning of the movie when the Marvel logo the title card is coming in, the Marvel card. There is an orchestral version of that theme that starts playing.
Get out of here.
And it's so good.
Oh God, we should watch this.
Yeah, we should.
We should.
Yeah.
Let's rent it on YouTube and watch it tonight.
Yeah,
I'm willing to do
all
that.
about
Let's
that.
watch Spider-Man Homecoming
I'm willing
tonight.
to do that.
But yeah, so I recommend Spider-Man Homecoming. I'm also recommending Thor Ragnarok. We're drawing closer and closer in the MCU to Infinity War.
Yeah.
So
the Infinity Gauntlet storyline, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Thanos getting the
Because I read Infinity Gauntlet.
Yeah.
And I have been excited for this shit.
We're getting there. We're getting close because now we've got like all these franchises. We've got the Defenders in the Netflix Marvel universe. We've got Doctor Strange. We've got
this incredibly cool Punisher.
Guardians of the Galaxy.
We got this Punisher showing up soon with what's his name, Shane from The Walking Dead.
Yeah,
playing the Punisher.
Sure.
Yeah.
My best friend.
My best friend.
I don't know if
He'll never fuck my wife.
I don't know if fingers crossed, including Nicolas Cage as Ghost Rider.
Yeah.
But yeah, we're drawing ever closer. The only property they don't really have at the moment is X-Men.
Yeah.
But
And X-Men has done particularly well, honestly, as a franchise.
Sure. It's done its thing fairly admirably, but as far as being separate from the rest of the MCU, we've got Avengers, Defenders, Guardians, Doctor Strange, Spider-Man now.
Yeah.
Deadpool is part of the MCU now. Yes, officially. I'm secretly hoping for like a gag ending to Infinity War where like Deadpool is sitting with Stan Lee advising him on how to end the story.
Hey, we only have so many Stan Lee cameos left.
Right, I know, man.
It's getting up there, man.
They never get less entertaining.
No,
They're always
they
great.
don't, yeah.
If you get a chance to meet Stan Lee at some convention or something, fucking grab it because you're about to lose it.
He's like the fucking Larry Flint of comic books. that guy, that dude, think what you want about him, but that dude is a fucking hero, man.
Yeah.
Stan Lee is golden age.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
exactly.
Dave, your recommendation.
Yes. Oh God, I sure just had one.
Well, we were talking about
Comedy.
on the topic of recommending funny things.
I actually think I strayed away from comedy. Oh my God, I just blanked.
Oh yeah.
I might have to pass it off to you till it comes back to me.
Don't worry.
Yeah.
Oh,
All right, I'm gonna let you guys pick an album. Do you want to do a '90s hip hop, East Coast hip hop album, or do you want to do a early '70s funk album?
Early 70s funk.
So, on the topic of funk, you can't, on the Mount Rushmore of funk, right next to George Clinton, you have to put Curtis Mayfield.
Sure. Superfly.
Superfly. Well, and that's what we're gonna go for, because that's the big one. And I could talk all day about Curtis Mayfield and how he is like a revolutionary guitar player. Like for dudes who like guitar work, Curtis is incredible.
Absolutely.
Tuned his guitar to the funkiest, weirdest tuning you can imagine, which is why you can never get your guitar to sound the same way. You can never get the chords to ring out the same way that Curtis used to be able to get it. And I could talk about the live stuff. I could talk about his last album, which is a fucking landmark that he recorded in a hospital bed. Yeah, like legit.
Christ.
Curtis was having his comeback tour, and he had some scaffolding fall on him in the middle of the tour, and like paralyze him, like from the waist down, and he ended up like had horrible complications from that, and cut his last album in his hospital bed.
I did not know that.
Like recorded the album. Wow. Recorded it in his hospital.
So it
bed.
ultimately killed him? Like the complications of that ultimately killed him?
Yeah.
Jesus
fucking
Christ.
incredible. Great album.
That's fucking
But the one I want to talk about is Superfly, because it's the one that you're all going to be able to get into, and it's going to be easily accessible. I think you guys have both listened to it at this point.
I have, yeah.
I think we listened to it together.
We have. But I talked about Pet Sounds a couple weeks ago,
Which, by the way, I listened to on your recommendation.
Yes, thank you.
Thought it was almost all good, and some of it was excellent.
Yes. Like the genius of arrangement is something that can be spoken for. And Curtis does that on this album. It was done for the blaxploitation film Superfly.
Right.
And
Which is about a fly that becomes a man.
Yes.
And fights crime.
Yes. Exactly that. And he's also black.
Right. Well, most flies are.
Most flies are black.
That makes sense.
Yeah, most flies are black.
Yeah.
I think. I don't know. There's not a lot of white flies.
No. Well, some of them are kind of bluish in the light.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah. Those flies are at the country club. Not struggling. No, all right. Anyway, sorry everybody. But no, Superfly, man. Curtis wrote and orchestrated and produced that entire album and built that soundscape from the ground up. And I'm thinking, even if you just fucking listen to that song, where it does that slow build in, where it's the congos behind him, and that boom, 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 boom,
Yeah.
boom, boom, and the drums start coming in, and then that. He's got the wall of sound behind him with the horn section.
That big, gorgeous sound, like the Phil Spector thing.
Yeah,
just
the wall just hits it.
Yeah,
like
it's the Motown trick.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, and it's just that wall. And there's some killer stuff on there. Freddy's Dead. Pusher Man might be one of my favorite.
Pusher Man.
Yeah.
Pusher Man.
That song is two different songs put together.
Yeah.
And it's just the nastiest funk guitar you can imagine. It combined with Curtis Mayfield's real high falsetto.
Yeah.
It's a fucking funk masterpiece, and it's worth a listen to anybody if you like music at all.
Or is it a funking fuck masterpiece?
It's a funking funk. It's a funkin' wagnall. It's
a fucking waggle. Oh, Jesus. Oh, no, beer down. Oh, God. Oh, no.
I saved it.
Oh, no. I've got the beer all over my slove. I have to lick it.
Curtis Mayfield, man, check out Superfly. It's great. It's incredible.
Fantastic. All right. I remembered what my recommendation was.
Yay.
Yeah, it took me all the way up until the last 30 seconds before you ended up saying that, but I was thinking about something funny. I wanted to recommend comedy, and I don't think I have talked enough about this maybe anywhere. Comedy Bang Bang.
Yeah.
I don't know how much you guys have seen of the show or listened to the podcast.
Just what I've watched with you.
Yeah, very little.
So what I can tell you about this is Comedy Bang Bang was at first a podcast and then later became an IFC show.
Right.
It is hosted by Scott Aukerman. Scott Aukerman is basically comedy royalty in that he came out of Mr. Show.
Right.
Mr. Show is comedy legend, as it is, revered among comedy nerds as one of the biggest sketch shows maybe ever.
Yeah.
It's got that sort of Carol Burnett show level following.
Yeah.
Meets Monty Python meets Insanity.
Yeah, right.
Exactly.
It's not written like a lot of other sketch shows. It's very Python-esque though. It has the whole
no punchlines.
No punchlines, and as Bob Odenkirk used to say, the thing that he loved about sketch was when you could see when a door slammed that the walls shook.
Yeah.
That the thing looked cheap.
You're right.
Like there's something about that. Python did it. There's something really endearing about sketch that looks like sketch.
Right.
Yeah.
So Scott Aukerman comes out of Mr. Show history. He was famously the taint model in the It's Insane, This Guy's Taint sketch.
Insane. This guy's taint.
Twasn't.
Neither balls nor asshole quarterly.
All the taint themed magazines that were in that sketch. Comedy Bang Bang is basically just its whole conceit as a podcast was he has a guest on, they talk a bit, and then in the second half, the guest had to leave, and I'm just going to talk, but knock, knock, who's there? Oh, no, I'm doing a podcast, and then a character comes in. Yeah. Right? And it's always the guest, or another guest, and sometimes the original guest is still there. Really, really playful. I wouldn't go so far as to say, it's not great improv in the sense that it takes itself really seriously. A lot of times it's hilariously cheap and stupid. People are laughing in the middle. They're breaking character constantly because they're trying to do something super absurd and it's obvious. And for people who, are really into, I think, sketch and improv stuff, it's got a special place in a lot of people's hearts. Mm-hmm. There's so many great episodes of the show and the podcast that I could recommend, but I would like to suggest, if you're going to listen to anything in particular, and I guess I'll just have to find the episode later, but if you Google it's called Prize Horse Fighting. These characters popped up on the show, but they were introduced in the podcast. It's two guys, sort of rancher types, southern rancher types. They got horses,
Yeah.
And what we do is we let them horses fight it out. We do prize horse fighting. is the idea, right? Where the it's literally they're operating a ranch where horses get up on their hind legs and punch each other to death. I think it probably stands to this day as one of the funniest episodes of the podcast they ever did. It's one of those things that it's hard to explain why it's so funny until you listen.
You'll hear it, yeah.
Sure.
But Comedy Bang Bang it's an institution at this point. I think it's without a doubt among comedy nerds like one of the number one comedy podcasts. It has its hits and misses like everything else, but it's exceptional as far as doing the kind of thing that it does. So highly recommend that if you like comedy, if you think you're a comedy nerd, if you think you're really into this kind of stuff, Comedy Bang Bang is the canonical sort of comedy nerds podcast. Check it out.
Excellent.
Specifically look for any episode that has either Paul Rust, Jason Mantzoukas, or Paul F. Tompkins.
The Pod F. Tomcast.
Yeah, of the Pod F. Tomcast. Paul F. Tompkins, also of Mr. Show fame, and insanely funny.
Yeah.
So that's my recommendation. Check out Comedy Bang Bang.
All right. Well, good fucking Rex.
Good Rex.
Now, what, if anything, have we learned?
I learned very little.
Yeah, very little.
I learned that Milwaukee is Iroquois for the good land.
Yes.
Yes, but the bad beer as well.
Yes. I learned that The Little Drummer Boy is the worst Christmas song ever written.
Yeah.
On that note, I wrote Parum Pum Pum Dumb.
Look at you.
I learned that tragedy is definitely the best in route for jokes.
Yes.
I wrote, on that note, you got to think of a slam dunk Texas shooter joke.
I'm working on it.
Yeah.
Give me a week, guys. Give me a week. Let's let all this digest. Let's let the sadness go through, and then give me a week, and I'll think of one. You know what I mean? Like
Texas not Chainsaw
not so
Massacre.
much a joke, but an observation.
Texas Just a Gun Massacre.
It still feels wrong, doesn't it?
Yeah, well, I was like, okay, not a joke, but an observation. The shooter looks an awful lot like a weirder Rich Evans.
Is there a weirder Rich Evans out there?
Yeah, I don't know.
Yeah.
White people are definitely the biggest threat to other white people out there.
Yeah, sure.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I also
and heart disease.
It hurts.
Right. White people and bacon are the biggest threats to white people. I just wrote "can't come to the phone." I don't have a punchline. I just love that joke
I just
so
wrote
much.
butts are funny.
Yeah, butts are funny. I learned that friendship, yay.
Aw, friendship yay. Friendship yay.
I learned that the Romans did graffiti. I didn't know that.
Yeah, I just put down Romans were degenerates.
Both true.
I wrote, this is not funny, but I wrote seek the positive all the time.
Yeah.
No matter what you do. Seek the positive all the time.
I wrote black people can fly.
Yes. We all know. Lesser known stereotype. Black people can fly.
Lesser known stereotype.
Yeah. Yeah. Lesser known true stereotype. All black people can fly.
Damn.
So if you ever need
A lift?
a lift anywhere,
Go onward. Just jump onto the nearest black dude's back and go, onward, please. I require assistance. I must go to the mini-mart.
call the closest black person to you and hop on his back and just fly away.
Now, contrary to popular belief, you do not get frequent flyer miles for that.
You do not. There's no credit card for that. There's just
Because black people are not registered to any airline.
shit. My wife was in a car accident.
Go onward. Onward, yeah. I must go.
What the fuck?
Get the fuck off my back. All right. Well, anyway. we didn't learn that much, I guess.
No, we didn't really.
Nah.
It was a more of a discussion kind of.
School is for suckers.
I loved this topic.
Yeah, it was a great topic.
I love this topic. Thank you so much for this one. This was really fun.
I'm glad it turned out as well as it did.
Yeah, I love talking about why we laugh and what we laugh about.
But that's all in the past now because next week
I will be hosting.
Dave's going to be hosting.
Little Drogsy Baby Boopin' Port. No, that doesn't work.
Little Draugr boy is gonna come host the
Little Draugr
Little Juggernaut. I'm the Juggernaut, bitch.
Here, I got bitch with me.
So yeah, we will see you next week, I guess.
We'll see you next week.
Adios. Keep laughing.
Arrivederci.
See you
Laugh.
next time. Oh, by the way, this was
Laugh, damn it!
By the way, this was session 24.
Yeah.
Session 24.
God damn
24th
you.
episode of the podcast.
Thank you, buddy. Hey,
It's there.
it just warms me deep in my heart.
Session 24, which means next
Deep
week,
in my
session
cockles.
25.
Yep, 25.
Deep in my
25 is going to
plums.
be next. You're going to be deep in my plums. You're going to be session 25. Who's going to host that? You are.
I sure am.
Because this one was 24, and now you're going to be 25.
Okay, bye-bye.
Session 24.